I believe in you.
Oh. Bringing it back for Cathy.
Is accused of stabbing to death 30. Yolanda Rojo at a house on College Avenue last Thursday. The car ran off and was later captured. The stabbing in the police had happened during a domestic fight.
I'd be anything but blue.
Saturday night, East Bakersfield is being investigated by Curtin County deputies who have not announced an arrest yet. They say the victim was a man who was taken to the hospital. Has not been made public. That shooting was on Kentucky Street, not from Mount Vernon Road, at an apartment complex. You will soon see the likeness of St. Gilbert, a laborer in the place of Caesar Town outside of the new restaurant that's getting ready to be apartment. The owner has decided to replace Chavez on a bill. Artist Hospital art to do the job.
I'd be anything but blue.
Closest to California with an average price of $5.29. I'm Chris Davis of the KER Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.
What time is my first break?
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk
15?
6.1.
Who is it? Who is it?
That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show. On a Monday, happy Easter week to you all. It's my favorite time of the year. We got a busy show. It's a busy weekend. We're talking a lot of sports today. The Duke Blue Devils did something Duke Blue Devils don't do. Say that 3 times fast. Just absolutely, literally, and figuratively handed a game over to the Huskies of UConn. It's a great victory for them. But, 15 years ago, they'd still be talking about that shot. Now, it's just a long 3. It's just a long 3. It's incredible how the game has changed. We'll get into that. Plus, it's my thesis that ABS, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, Mr. Burdick. It's not sustainable.
You don't think so?
No. I think the umpires are going to go on strike. They're going to fight this thing.
Yeah.
It is what are we, a week into it? And these guys have been absolutely humiliated.
Oh, yeah.
CB Buckner, dude, retire already. There were 2 umpires, Buckner being one, and there was another one where they got consecutive calls wrong. Where these guys, remember, couldn't have been more wrong. Where I said, all players will be reluctant to challenge it because they've been wrong so many times. They think it's a strike, and then they go back and look, and they realize it was. No, the players, I bet, I haven't seen the stat, but I bet the overturn percentage is about 85%.
I said the same thing this morning.
I
I haven't seen an actual stat yet for the first week, but it's tremendously positive.
Buckner, in all of his incompetence, the new Angel Hernandez of the league. You know, when people like me, who I'm a fan, but I watch Dodger games. I don't watch a lot of other games. Giants, Yankees. You think I sat and watched that? But when a guy like me, a B plus fan, knows umpires by their names,
You're doing something wrong.
you're doing something extremely wrong. You are infamous. You are not famous. So Buckner punched out a guy twice on consecutive pitches, and both times he appealed, and both times Buckner was wrong. And you see the second time?
Yeah.
Where Buckner goes, so it's the second pitch, and he punches the guy out, and the guy's like, and Buckner goes, the call on the field has been appealed. This jerk is questioning me again. The call on the field has been overturned. I'm 68 years old, and I really should be in a rocking chair listening to the Ralph Bailey show. And then another guy got 3 consecutive calls wrong. 3 consecutive. And what are we, a week into the season? It's not sustainable. by the All-Star break, fans are going to be like, let's just get rid of these guys. Let's just expedite it and just go with the square. We'll get into that a little bit later. And Gary Woodland, you probably have never heard of him. He's a PGA pro who I didn't know went through a horrible medical situation, a PTSD situation. Again, like 6 minutes into the show.
At this point, they just time it for it.
Oh, it's Lisa. We give Lisa a pass. She's the associate producer of the broadcast.
Did you not turn me up?
Huh? Yeah, you're up. You're up. Oh, she's sending me pictures. This is the pic I was telling you about. My uncle is on the left with his go fetch it out of the ocean shirt. She was telling me the Max Muncy story without really knowing the Max Muncy story because it's a long story. Thank you, Lisa. But Freddie Freeman, Gary, what did I say? Gary Woodward did you know this? Had a tumor on the part of his brain that creates anxiety and fear.
I did not know this until this
You
weekend.
heard the audio, or you heard this weekend when he won?
We didn't cover it much on the show this morning, but I was planning on covering it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Freddie Freeman, well, I should be talking about his wife, Michael Bowers now. Let's see what he's got to say. This could be interesting.
Ooh.
It's too long. It's too long. I'll read it later. During the break. Freddie's wife is having their 6th child.
He's catching up to Phillip Rivers.
That's what I was thinking. I had a whole bit I was going to do. Like, screw Phillip Rivers. We'll get a softball team and some reserves.
It don't matter. Neither of them can beat Antonio Cromartie.
Kids. And do you know? Oh, you're right about that. Or Sean Kemp. Who's got 2 kids here. I found that out. I uncovered that story. I was digging through some court records, and I was in family court. I was a newspaper reporter, and I was in family court, and I'm just looking for famous people going through horrible divorces, as a good journalist would. And I'm like, Sean Kemp? Nah. And I pull the file, and lo and behold, he's got a baby mama in this town. And this is how long ago it was. I was doing newspaper. That's how long ago it was. But Kemp was still in the league. And the reason that she was filing is because he had just signed his final monster contract. And she wanted to renegotiate her baby mama status.
As it normally
As it always is. But yeah, they're going for their 6th child. And the big thing that was all over the reels because I watched Freddie's baby reveal. That's all I got on my algorithms this weekend. Baby reveal. parties. And some of them are funny because some of them, and I don't know what to take seriously because some of them, you see this dad, it's a couple, right? And they've got like 8 girls, right? And so one of the ways they do it these days, apparently, is they take champagne flutes, they have a cake, and inside the cake, it's either red or it's either pink or blue, and they dive the flutes in the cake and pull it out, and it is what it is. So this dude's got 8 daughters, and I'm exaggerating, 3, 4 daughters, and he pulls it in. They put the flute in the cake, they pull it out, it's pink, and he's like, starts cursing and tearing up the party. No, not again. And I'm like, but there's family and people are freaking out, so it looked real. But Freddie, of course, what do you think Freddie did?
Jokingly did the same thing?
No, he set up tees for his kids.
Oh,
and they all hit balls, and the balls exploded into pink. So they're having a girl. Really? We can't just have a party and say, "Hey, y'all, we're having a girl."
Yeah, these gender reveal things are really dumb
they're
now.
Ridiculous. Dude, you should see. I saw so many this weekend. The big thing is the cake. The balloon is a big thing.
Yeah, the balloon's always been a big one.
The canister.
Poppers,
yes, the canister is a big one. If I saw one, I saw 35. Literally. Just looking through the reel.
When it first started, it was cool,
cute, yes. But now it's like, okay, all right.
Especially, and I don't mean to make it this way, but if you got about like 5, 6 kids, we don't need this many.
And particularly if you have different gendered kids. Like for the guy that's got 4 daughters and wants a boy, I get it. Okay.
That's actually pretty cool.
There's some drama, and the family's like, Ralph wants a boy. Here we go.
Like, this is better at this point.
But if you got a boy and a girl, what difference does it make? Right. And at the end of the day, even if you're a girl dad and you want a boy, to show displeasure with what you're having, your child's going to see that. You do know that, right? Like everything you do is in the clouds. And kids, when they're 25, are going to look back on that and say, "So, Pop, I was a disappointment? You wanted Ralphina instead of Ralph? Is that the way it goes?" I don't know. We'll get into that. We got a busy show, though. I got to get going. We'll begin with the speculation that's going on coming out of the White House. There are some bold statements made out of the White House over the weekend. And today, in fact, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who we'll talk about later when it comes to 2028 with Cathy Abernathy, there was a CPAC convention. They did a straw poll, and Rubio has climbed significantly, while J.D. Vance, in the eyes of the Republicans, has dipped slightly. We'll get into that later with Cathy, but he said the Strait of Hormuz will be open one way or another. And this comes as the president begins to ramp up talks of boots, the famous quote, boots on the ground. There are some now 7,000 troops in Iran. And again, let me be redundant. I'm going to say this every day until we bring our boys and girls home. I agree with what we're trying to do. This has been 47 years, it's been half a decade of these people terrorizing, extorting, exporting terrorism, funding Hezbollah, Hamas, whomever will kill Americans. It's about time we did something. Just the manner in which we're doing it, in which there hasn't been a direct plan. The president has never addressed the nation. We're getting different opinions and different ideas of what we're doing. Just depends on who's speaking coming out of the White House, whether it's Carolyn Levitt or Pete Hegseth or Marco Rubio or the president himself. But now they're talking about upping the ante and going after the uranium, the enriched uranium that the Iranians still have. And that point alone goes to the mixed messaging and why almost every day since Epic Fury began, I've tried to explain that the president, and I'm hoping he's listening, has to play this straight. This is not a campaign. This is not trying to get a bill across the goal line. This is not a midterm election. This is war with global ramifications, and every single leader on the planet examining what you say, how you enact, and what you do. And the mixed messages that we've gotten, the lack of a message that we've gotten, talks are going up, talks aren't going, the Iranians deny their talks. I, for one, and this is bizarre for me, I'm siding with the president on this. He says that they're talking to high-ranking officials. There's talk from a reporter from Axios, Barak Ravid, who is a global affairs correspondent, a well-respected global affairs correspondent, who CNN booked this morning. And I don't think they got what they expected because he said exactly what I'm saying. He believes that there are high-level talks going on. Who that is, we don't know. Here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio this morning.
Well, I'm not going to disclose to you who those people are because it probably would get them in trouble with some other groups of people inside of Iran. Look, there's some fractures going on there internally. And at the end of the day, I think that if there are people in Iran who now, given everything that's happened, are willing to move in a different direction for their country, that would be great. Imagine in Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you have a much different country. So we are always hopeful that that would exist over there. It's unfortunate. The people of Iran are incredible people. The people who lead them, this clerical regime, that is the problem. And if there are new people now in charge who have a more reasonable vision of the future, that would be good news for us, for them, for the entire world. But we also have to be prepared for the possibility, maybe even the probability, that that is not the case.
I believe Marco Rubio. And if he's right, if the president is right, it's a huge gamble. It's a gamble that could cost the Republican Party its recent future. But if he's right and he changes the Middle East, he'll go down as one of the greatest presidents in the history of this country. Be able to do something that 7 presidents wanted to do, threatened to do, but never had the cojones to step up and try it. And now he is forever altering the future of the Middle East. It's a big if, but I think it's worth the gamble. We're not going to see a Vietnam-like entrance into Iran, but how we get that uranium in small little militia groups. I mean, that's where this whole mixed message began. Because weren't we told 6 months ago that we obliterated their nuclear infrastructure? And I thought that this was about destroying the ballistic missile infrastructure that defends the nuclear infrastructure. No, now they're talking about going in, and I've talked about this, the entire Epic Fury. There's no way of destroying a nuclear infrastructure, their uranium, by air. You've got to go in and get it. And they're at 60%. They need to get to 90% to get a nuclear weapon. And they said in negotiations just about a month ago that we're weeks away from getting 11 bombs. So I believe Rubio when he says that there are high-level talks. Who they're with, I'm guessing members of the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's who I'm guessing. Maybe Parliament. I think Khomeini's kid is either dead or on his deathbed. Haven't seen him since his family was wiped out. But we're getting into funky territory now. And it is incumbent upon all of us to say a prayer for the men and women that are over there, the 7,000 troops, along with the USS Gerald Ford and a couple of other carrier groups. This is about to get funky. It really, really is. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. And when we come back, we've got DHS still not funded. Meantime, the senators are enjoying their Easter break. President has threatened to call them back. Last time that happened, my mother was 5 years old. She's 84. Harry S. Truman. And the S stood for nothing. Just like Ulysses S. Grant. Didn't stand for anything. Although some say it stood for Simpson. But it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Then Cathy Abernathy is going to join us at 4 o'clock. Bob Costas. We talked about this, alluded to it on Friday. We've got the audio today. Lends some credibility and common sense to the transgender situation. He comments on the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, decision to ban biological men from the Olympics. And we're going to wrap up the show with a religious question. Pete Hegseth has brought up religion, saying that God is on our side. Pope Leo said, no, he's not. No, he's not. We'll talk about that. Is God on our side, and is it wrong to invoke the Lord in military affairs? Dwight Eisenhower did it in World War II. Yes, that means I'm on Pete Hegseth's side. It's a weird Monday. on this Easter week. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live, kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk about what's going on in the world of water with the best in the business. That would be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. We'll find out the latest of everything that's going on in Iran. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. We'll talk about it. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
If you're a business owner, have you ever thought about your IT information being taken hostage? Literally, scammers, hackers getting into your IT and saying, we'll give it back to you for a price. Or if you don't, we'll spread it out to your opponents, your adversaries. Well, that's why you should team up with Adaptive Networks. I know that's why one of the reasons American General Media has teamed up with them, as I've explained, as a radio station. We depend on our IT, and that's why we depend on Adaptive Networks. And again, that's why you should as well. And if you're not thinking about protecting your IT information, you damn well should be. Call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. Or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. Go to the company that is secure, safe, and expedient. No wait till Monday. No, we'll be there tomorrow. They act right now. That's why we depend on them. Call them today at 241-0638. Adaptive Networks.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's war.
You see Lily's text message?
I'm reading it now. Yeah, cool. You should forward that to Jen.
America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Get ready for the 11th annual Mac and Cheese Fest, happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m. This year's event is going to be bigger and better than ever. Enjoy endless servings of mac and cheese, along with refreshing beers, spiked seltzers, cocktails, and live music. Tickets are on sale now. For more information and to grab your tickets, visit BakersfieldMacandCheeseFest.com. Happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m.
This event benefits the Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House.
You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Yeah, I'm gonna play you
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. Again, the president's deadline is April the 6th, and he is promising, and again, a more disturbing words coming out of the White House. He has threatened in a Truth Social submission that if a deal is not made by April 6th from the Iranians, he intends to bomb their desalination plant, which would destroy about 5% of their water, which impacts the Iranians themselves, the citizens, and not the military. The electrical units, putting them in the dark. Again, this is affecting citizens, and that's what we don't do. As you remember, if you're a loyal listener, I applauded the president for not doing that initially and trying to stave off Benjamin Netanyahu from doing the same, because we don't want to be the bad guys in this thing. We want to be the emancipators. If we are really about regime change, and again, one day it's about regime change, one day it's about nuclear weapons, one day it's about ballistic missiles, one day it's about the Israelis, blah, 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 blah. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, it has to be about regime change, because there's no way we're going to get all 200, kilograms? Kilograms, 2,000 kilograms, which is about 1,000 pounds apparently. I don't know the metric system, never did, of enriched uranium. We're just going to walk in there. You don't think this stuff is buried? And if it is buried, I thought we obliterated it, so it's even more buried. I mean, why they even put that on the legal pad? Why they put that on the rundown for things to be checked off is frightening, because that can only be done with American troops or maybe Israeli troops. Maybe they're going to leave it to the Israelis. I don't know. But Carolyn Levitt defended the president's 15-day plan and said that there's progress. The Iranians, meantime, are calling it unreasonable, unrealistic, and illogical. They want reparations for the damage that's been done. I don't have a problem with that. If there's a regime change, we're not giving any money to the IRGC. That ain't happening. But if there's a regime change, if we can get Pahlavi, we can get the Shah's grandson or son, I can't remember which, or some moderate IRGC member that wants to take the country in a different direction, I wouldn't have. It's like the Marshall Plan after World War II. I don't have a problem rebuilding Iran if, in fact, we're going in a different direction, and it means a whole different deal for the entire region and for the entire future of the world, literally. But now they're talking about taking Iranian oil and going in and getting the uranium and keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. That gets a little more complicated than simply flying B-2 bombers over Iran. That gets a little sticky, a little messy. But I think that's coming. I think that's inevitable. Because why else would they even put that on the board? Take a quick time out and come back. TSA agents got checks today, thanks to the President of the United States. And now we've had consecutive record-breaking shutdowns. They're becoming ordinary. Quick time out. More TRBS. I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Pete Peters in Washington. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf allies of the United States are urging President Trump to keep prosecuting his war against Iran, saying the month of strikes has not weakened Tehran enough. That's according to U.S. Gulf and Israeli officials. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are pushing the hardest, with the UAE favoring a ground invasion. The FBI says a man who crashed his pickup truck into a Detroit area synagogue earlier in March was carrying out an attack inspired by Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah and sought to inflict as much damage as possible. Jennifer Runyon, head of the FBI in Detroit, disclosed the new information at a news conference today. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 49 points. The Nasdaq dropped 153. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Court today for the first time for 33-year-old Victor Farias, who was accused of stabbing a woman to death during a domestic incident at a house on College Avenue last week. Farias was captured in Tehachapi after wrecking his car there. The woman was ID'd as 30-year-old Yolanda Rojo of Bakersfield.
The patron saint of farm workers will be displayed on a mural outside of a new restaurant that is set to open in a couple of weeks in Arvin. The owner decided to replace the likeness of Cesar Chavez on a mural there with St. Isidore the Laborer and hired artist Ernesto Aguilar to do the job. Gas in California is at $5.83 on average and steady, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Last week, there was the Paul Sheldon sighting. Kind of rare and very exciting. Everyone asking, where has he been? Of course, his clients weren't worried about their Medicare, even when Paul in person wasn't there, because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. The grandkids like to play, where's Waldo? Granddad's asking, hey, where'd Paul go? Just games that are fun to win. But when push comes to shove and the day is done, we know it's covered, so it's all in fun. Because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Over the years, so many have said it. The guy's a genius. Gotta give the man credit. He put it together way back then. Brought along those three Medicare pros, who of course by now everyone knows are Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
They're a competitor. They're better than 29. I know that. 23 is. But 17 is head and shoulders the best. But they did a story on Donna Rowe, our guest Friday, the nurse who met her husband and they went to Vietnam together. They volunteered. And it's a great story. Go back to the Friday show. And when we have her on? 4 o'clock, I think?
I believe so, yeah.
And listen to that interview. People in the chat room complimented on us on the interview. She's a wonderful woman. She's 83 years old. And she basically had, I don't know if you ever, do you remember the show? You don't remember the show. You weren't even born. I think it was called Chinatown or China something, China Loop, China Grade, Beijing, China. I don't know what it was called, China something. And it was about Vietnam and it was about nurses and doctors. It was kind of a serious MASH look at Vietnam. And that's basically what she was. She headed up a hospital there. She spoke at the Portrait of a Warrior and never saw her in the VOSOT. They did what's called a voiceover with sound on tape, where you see video of the event and they have a bite from somebody at the event, which you would think would be, I don't know, who'd you guess they would get to voice a bite? Down the road.
Yeah.
You would think. I saw Jeff Salters. That's who they talked to. You never saw Donna Rowe. You never heard from her. And you know what that's about? That's not about coverage. That's about the photographer, more than likely, I don't know, I did not get down there. I had other stuff going on this weekend. Had another thing to go to, so he couldn't wait till she spoke. So he got some shots. He got a quick bite from the organizer, and he got the hell out of there. Because how do you do a story on Donna Rowe, and we never see or hear Donna Rowe? Television. It's just the nature of the beast. Where, as opposed, you know this is coming. I was pumping up radio. You could go back to the Friday show and listen to Donna talk for what? Damn near the whole half hour. It was the whole half hour. Yeah. 30 minutes of Donna Rowe. If you want to hear from a woman, not only a great love story, how she met her husband, how he went to war together, and how they lived out their lives together. He's passed on. She's still here at 84. But just a great Vietnam story and a great story of a veteran. Go back and listen to the Friday show. Oh, meantime, as I mentioned, the TSA agents are getting 2 weeks' pay. They're not getting back pay. They just got paid. So they're still behind. Did you know that in the last 6 months, TSA, FEMA, Coast Guard workers have not been paid out of 90 days out of the 6 months? But we've had consecutive 40-plus day shutdowns. They're becoming ordinary. And again, you've heard my solution. It's foolproof. When the checks stop to TSA and to FEMA and to the Coast Guard, et cetera, the checks stop for Congress. And you'll never have a shutdown again. Let those knuckleheads miss one pay period and you'll not that they need the money, because almost all 535 of them, 435 in the House and 100 over there in the Senate, they come in wealthy, or they come in rich, they leave wealthy. They come in, with a portfolio of a couple of $100,000 and they leave millionaires. So we know that. They don't need the dough. They are you think there's insider trading going on Wall Street? Shoot. K Street and DC? Are you kidding? They invented insider trading. I always thought it was Joe Kennedy, but no, it was Congress. But nevertheless, if their paychecks stopped for 1 minute, they would end these endless shutdowns. And it's just sad. These people literally are going and giving up their plasma, selling an extra car, working another gig. Most of them are just quitting. There have been over, please stand by, 500 TSA agents have just outright quit. There have been over 3,500 no-shows this past weekend as we go into spring break, as we go into Easter. I don't know about y'all, but every Easter, my family traveled. Every freaking Easter, we spent a week down south. Every Easter of my life. Go see the GPs. Got to go see grandma and grandpa. And the lines are getting better because more people showed up today because they got word that they might get a check. But when you haven't been paid and you missed 2 pay periods and you just get 1, all right, you're just halfway home. You're just halfway home. A third of the agents at some of our largest airports, i.e. Houston, Chicago, and the busiest down in Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, a third of the agents haven't showed up. And I don't blame them one bit. I really don't. I really, really don't. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And it comes at a very precarious time. This is DHS still, because really has nothing to do with ICE. ICE is funded through 2029. This is about Democrats having leverage or believing they have leverage. They think they flipped the immigration issue and they think they have leverage. It's just like the war. They're never, ever, ever, ever going to side with Epic Fury because the winds tell us, the polls tell us that the majority don't like this. So they're going to be on that side with the midterms coming up. And they're betting that this thing goes badly and the disapproval rating will go up, which it will if it does go badly. We talked about this talk of putting boots on the ground and going and getting the uranium. Can you imagine if the first foray into Iran by American troops goes badly? And let's just say 5 or 6 troops are killed, just 5 or 6. The media and the liberals will have a field day with that. And they'll be, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Meantime, Carolyn Levitt was pointing out the inadequacies of not having DHS funded. And she talked about the Chicago woman that I'm sure most of you are aware of, a woman who was shot in Chicago minding her own business. Just like the woman up in San Francisco who's holding her dad's hand was shot by an illegal immigrant. Just like Laken Riley down in Georgia going for a run and getting molested and killed down in Athens. Same thing in Florida. If it happens once, that's once too often. And Carolyn Levitt really gave it to the Washington Press Corps this morning and highlighted just how biased the coverage has been.
Just last week, Sheridan Gorman, a young woman in Chicago, was shot and killed on the street walking with her friends outside of her university by an illegal alien from Venezuela who had no right to be here in the first place. And it's despicable that Democrats are currently defunding the department that's responsible for removing illegal aliens like that. And I would also add it's despicable that the lack of coverage of this young woman's case, of her life, and the way that it was tragically cut short. I saw a survey over the weekend that I'd like to bring to all of your attention. This is the media coverage of the case of Sheridan Gorman. You have ABC News has spent 1 minute and 19 seconds between 2 days when this case was first alerted. You have CBS, 2 minutes and 1 second. You have NBC, 23 seconds spent on the life of a young, beautiful American woman whose life was taken short by an illegal alien who should have never been here in the first place, when we are in the middle of a battle on Capitol Hill with a major political party, the Democrat Party, who wants to defund the agency that is responsible for protecting Americans. I think her life was worth more than 23 seconds on cable television, and I think the people in this room have a responsibility to report on cases like this, because it just exemplifies why the president believes so strongly in deporting illegal aliens from our communities.
She is so good. She is just so good. I mean, she, in my lifetime, and I'm biased, other than Pierre Salinger wrote Catch-22, my bad. That's J.D. Salinger. It is Pierre Salinger. Please stand by. This is going to bug me. Hey, Siri, who is John Kennedy's press secretary? Pierre Salinger. Okay, I had it right. Okay, hey, Siri, who wrote Catch-22? Hey, Siri, who wrote Catch-22?
Catch-22 was written by Joseph Heller in 1961.
Hey, Siri, who is J.D. Salinger?
J.D. Salinger was an American author best known.
Catcher in the Rye.
I knew that name sounded really familiar too, but I couldn't pinpoint where it came from.
I just would like to know, is it age or is it THC? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Is this a natural progression, or have I done this to myself?
Well, as you usually say.
Pipe down. I don't even want to. What?
Two things can be true.
A combination, a perfect storm. What was the point I was trying to make?
Salinger.
Oh, best press secretary. Other than Pierre Salinger, John Kennedy's, this girl is the best. For her to sit there and absolutely just rip into the best reporters in the nation and have the receipts. That's the best part. She comes prepared. She puts it in their face. She deals with facts. This is how you covered a murder of an innocent college girl just walking around near the University of Chicago, where the presidential candidate and governor of the state of Illinois claims she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Where is that, J.B. Pritzker? Outside? On the streets of Chicago? You're right. In some respects, she was in Chicago. She was in the wrong place, all right. Should have been somewhere else other than the state of Illinois. Wrong place at the wrong time? Really? As we defund DHS and as democratic socialism is on the rise. It's amazing to me, but a good thing, because we may get slaughtered in the midterms, but Republicans are going to win. It would be difficult, I think, for any Democrat on the road that they're going on the opposite side of 80-20 issues like transgender athletes and immigration, et cetera, et cetera. And I think there's going to be a shift in feelings about this conflict. I think that if we can open up the Strait of Hormuz, if we can show evidence of nuclear infrastructure destruction, then I think you're going to see a shift in the feelings about this war. And this could be Donald Trump's finest moment. At the same time, it's a flip of the coin that this could be Donald Trump's Vietnam, and that this could absolutely destroy the Republican Party to the point where we could have 16 years of Democratic presidents. Can you imagine for the rest of my natural life having Democratic presidents? Because I got about 16, 20 years left. And can you imagine 8 years of Josh Shapiro or J.B. Pritzker or, God forbid, Gavin Newsom? And then his vice president would probably win again and got another 8 years, perhaps. It's frightening. It's going to be one of the two. Either the party's going to be completely destroyed or Trump will go down as one of the greatest presidents ever. It's one of the two. Let's go ahead and take a break. And we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about before Cathy Abernathy joins us at the top of the hour. We're going to talk about the CPAC convention, where, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Marco Rubio has made a strong, strong comeback in the minds of Republicans, at least at the Political Action Convention this weekend. We'll also talk about with Cathy, is this Trump's party? What happens in 28? Obviously, if it's J.D. Vance or J.D. Salinger or Pierre Salinger or J.D., our loyal listener, if it's Vance, it's still a Trump party, obviously. But if it's Marco Rubio, I get a feeling that he might return to the Marco Rubio we once knew. Because they've all changed. They've all changed since the dominance of Donald Trump. They've changed their ideology, many of their beliefs, all to suit the king, he said, following the No Kings weekend. Quick time out. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday, the beginning of Easter week, very holy week for my fellow Catholics. I always look to the sky when I say that. Lightning, I'm going to get shot down. Catholic, boy, you haven't been to church in 4 years. Quick time out. Coming right back. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News.
Big Mike.
KERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the absolute latest ongoing situation in Iran, and we will continue to update you on the chaos inside of airports and everything related to the government shutdown. All that and more. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you come hang with us for the Tuesday edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Later this week, we're going to introduce you to one of our new sponsors and one of my best friends on the planet, Mike Arier, Big Mike's Rage and Barbecue. You know, it's a fascinating story. It really is. Garce's kid was a tall, gangly kid when he went off to San Diego State and was roommates with former police chief Greg Williamson. Both played on the San Diego State Aztec football team. And then all of a sudden, he's taking a picture with the Green Bay Packers sitting next to another Bakersfield cat and playing in the National Football League. And Mike has used the discipline and hard work necessary to get from a private little high school to the National Football League and has become one of the best caterers in this community. As I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, it doesn't matter what your event is, whether it's graduation, a luncheon, a meeting, a wedding, it doesn't matter. Mike comes prepared. He's got some of the best food in town. He is a stickler for upgraded and quality meats. And I'm telling you, by word of mouth, he has been killing it for over 2 decades now. Give him a call at 393-5507, 393-5507. Big Mike's Rage and Barbecue. We'll meet him later on in the week.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank.
In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't, and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination, and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coot.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on a February 2025 Nielsen report.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
I had quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I hate when I wear this shirt.
Why?
Because I get massive compliments on this shirt.
Why is that a bad thing?
It's one of the few shirts that I didn't purchase for myself. My mother bought this shirt for me. But thank you, Mary. It's very kind of you. But I always get a compliment on this shirt. And I have 3 other shirts that I get compliments on, and guess who purchased all 3 of them? My mother really has good taste. She really does. I won't talk about that. I won't talk about it. The fact that I was voted best dressed at my high school, Brentwood High School. I won't talk about that. Because it has nothing to do with me. I never bought any clothes. My mother wouldn't let me buy clothes. I have really bad taste in clothes, apparently. But my mother doesn't. And it is an interesting story. I can't wait to get Arie in here. You know, it really is a fascinating story. Here's a guy who had no idea he'd ever end up in the National Football League. He's playing basketball and football at Garces. He goes off to San Diego State on a scholarship. He meets this guy, this walking building named Greg Williamson. They become close friends. We all had lunch together a couple of weeks ago. It was Mike's birthday. And of the two, Mike is the one that makes it in the NFL. If you saw Mike and Greg standing next to each other, particularly, I'm assuming when they were young. I didn't know it when they were in their 20s. But Greg is significantly bigger than Mike. You would have thought that it would have been Williamson that would make it in the National Football League. But then Mike gets into the NFL. And like when he appears on the show later this week, he's going to be a guest on the show later this week. I'm going to post some pictures I have of him, some classic pictures of him. There's one where it's the middle of practice. He's got his helmet off, and he's just standing there, and Parcells is lecturing him on something. He's got a cup of coffee, and Mike's just standing there listening to him. And there's the team picture that I alluded to in his commercial where he's sitting next to Ken Rutgers. Think about the odds of that. Think about the odds of 2 Bakersfield kids making it in the NFL. Just make 2 Bakersfield kids in the same year making it in the NFL. Then think about the odds of the 2 of them making it on the same team. Then think about the odds of them essentially playing the same position and having, I think Mike's number was 75 and Rutgers' number was 76. So in the team picture, 2 Bakersfield kids are sitting next to each other in the Green Bay Packers 88 team picture. I think roughly the late 80s. He was with the Giants in like 89, 90, and I think with the Packers first in 87, 88. But I mean, think of the odds of that. And now, one goes off and Mike owned a cigar shop for a little while. He started the cigar shop, the 17th Street Cigar Shop. Mike and Larry started that about 30 years ago. And now he's one of the best caterers in town. Give him a call at 393-5507. Let's sneak in a couple of text messages before Cathy gets in here.
This first one just says it's Freddie's fourth child.
No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. Hey, Siri, how many children does Freddie Freeman have?
Freddie Freeman has 3 sons with his wife Chelsea. They are Frederick
you're right.
Freeman II, Brandon John Freeman, and Maximus Turner Freeman.
Why did I think they were having 6?
This answer is from Wikipedia.
You're absolutely right. All right. This is their 4th child. I thought they had 3 boys and a girl.
Oh, he's never had a girl. I knew he had all boys.
So then they must be extremely happy.
I would assume Mama gets somebody to actually hang out with
to raise and braid hair and do all those kind of things.
Although let's be honest, Freddie's going to be the one taking care of most of it. It's the girl dad thing.
Yeah, but the mom can do things that dads don't brush hair. Sure. Unless you're a single dad and you've had to do that, but dads don't. My father never brushed my sister's hair. You know what I'm saying? And then once my sister got to a certain age, she took care of Tina. But yeah, that's exciting. Thank you for the correction. What else you
got? China Beach is the name of the
China Beach. China Beach with
Thank
Dana.
You,
who?
Mary Marcus.
Mary Marcus. Thank you, Barry. With Dana, the really hot woman. I forget her name. Dana. I can't remember. That was a good series, actually. I got on that late. I wasn't a big fan, and then I got on it late, and it was too late, and I've seen it in reruns. One more. Let's get Cathy in here.
Ralph, I think the only way you're going to change the Middle East is kill everybody over there, because if you leave people there, they're still going to hate us no matter what. Rubio might be right, but he might be wrong.
I thought I said that. You may be right. I may be crazy. Well, isn't that what we did? I mean, we killed Khomeini and 4 of his subordinates. The sun hasn't been seen since that attack. And as I said on day one, I said this. Is that really a gig you want right now? Like, even if we cut tail and run, we still have the ability to take you out at any moment. Is that really a gig you want? And that's why the president has to play this straight, because we know they're not playing it straight. We know they're lying. They're saying that if we come in with troops that they will, what's the phrase they use? They'll be set on fire. I think it's inevitable that American boys will be in Iran. I really do. I think in small contingencies, but if they're talking about going after the uranium, we're going to have boots on the ground. It's a Monday. Damn near 4 o'clock. That means Cathy Abernathy is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A man who crashed his pickup truck into a Detroit area synagogue earlier in March was carrying out an attack inspired by the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah, and it sought to inflict as much damage as possible. Special Agent in Charge Jennifer Runyon, head of the FBI in Detroit, quotes from video sent by Ayman Ghazali to his sister.
This is the largest gathering of Israelis in the state of Michigan, in the United States. I have booby-trapped the car. I will forcibly enter and start shooting them. God willing, I will kill as many of them as I possibly can. He sends a quick 3-second video with the same screenshot shortly after and types the message, a special operation.
Ghazali then smashed his truck loaded with fireworks and gasoline into the building and exchanged gunfire with a guard at Temple Israel before fatally shooting himself. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells reporters negotiations with Iran are going well.
Despite all of the public posturing you hear from the regime and false reporting, talks are continuing and going well. What is said publicly is, of course, much different than what's being communicated to us privately.
Meanwhile, Tehran struck a key water and electrical plant in Kuwait, and an oil refinery in Israel came under attack. In contrast, Israel and the U.S. launched a new wave of strikes on Iran. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf allies of the United States are urging President Trump to keep prosecuting his war against Iran, saying the month of strikes has not weakened Tehran enough. That's according to U.S. Gulf and Israeli officials. On Wall Street, up by 49 points. The Nasdaq dropped 153. The S&P lower by 25. More at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Court today for a man accused of killing a woman last week. I'm Chris Davis. The first hearing for 33-year-old Victor Farias is scheduled for today in Kern County Superior Court, says the docket. Farias is accused of stabbing to death 30-year-old Yolanda Rojo at a house on College Avenue last Thursday, then fleeing to Tehachapi, where he wrecked his car, ran off, and was later captured there. The stabbing is believed to have happened during a domestic fight between the two. A shooting Saturday night in East Bakersfield is being investigated by Kern County deputies who have not announced an arrest yet. They say the victim was a man who was taken to the hospital, but his condition has not been made public. That shooting was on Kentucky Street, not far from Mount Vernon Road, at an apartment complex. You will soon see the likeness of St. Isidore the Laborer in place of Cesar Chavez on the outside of a new restaurant that's getting ready to open in Arvin. The owner has decided to replace Chavez on a mural and hired artist Ernesto Aguilar to do the job, painting over Chavez with a representation of the Catholic patron saint of farm workers, which is the latest local replacement of Chavez. While it's not a coordinated effort, many other entities have decided to do the same since the sexual abuse accusations in the New York Times article. Gas prices could best be described as steady today, and for the past several days, says Gas Buddy, which is reporting the state average for California is the same as it has been for about a week, now at $5.83. The national average has gone down a couple of cents and is at $3.95 per gallon. Washington State is still the closest to California with an average price of $5.29. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday, beginning of Easter week. Again, I wish you all a very happy Easter on this holiest of holy week. Lots to do. Come to bottom of the hour, hear from Bob Costas, who has such respect in the media and in this country that he's brought some logic and common sense to this transgender debate. You'll hear what he had to say and how it's absolutely moving the needle. It's incredible. I didn't know he had that much cachet. We'll talk about that. In the final, talk a little sports. My thesis today, the ABS, the automated ball strike system, it's not sustainable because we've proven what we've all known. Maybe it's just a hard gig. I used to be an umpire. It is a very difficult gig, particularly the way as hard as everybody throws now. You know, back when we were young, there were a handful of guys that threw 100 miles an hour. Nolan Ryan, Dave Stewart, Randy Johnson. Now everybody throws 100 miles an hour. And everybody's pitches move. Fastballs move up and down and away. And it's a tough gig, but we've proven that these guys have no clue. No clue. And they're either going to go on strike and say, get rid of it, or maybe I don't see, if we're a week in and there have been like almost 100 changes, I just don't see how it's sustainable. And you hear the story of the emotional story of Gary Woodward, a PGA pro, who had a tumor on his brain that was causing him anxiety and fear. And he hadn't won on the tour for 6 years. I don't know what's worse, not winning for 6 years, period, or having won and then going in a drought for 6 years. I think the latter is worse. You'll hear from him as well. And of course, we got to talk about the Duke giveaway, where the Blue Devils did something Blue Devils just don't normally do. And that's literally and figuratively hand a game over to an opponent. But it is a Monday. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Cathy's looking for adventure. Professor Cathy Abernathy, how are you, Professor?
Well, I'm good. You know, I was just reading, Wall Street Journal had a big story about what are we going to do with this automated, correction of,
system.
yeah, and, how much farther it's going to go. And then I didn't know, you said 100 errors?
There have been, as I say at the
This
top of the show,
weekend.
no, of the season, for the whole season,
well.
which is like a week.
Well, a week.
That's what I'm saying. How can this be sustained if every single night? And some of the pitches are in the heart of the plate. I get it when it it catches it like a tennis, what they do in tennis where it barely catches the line. Okay, I understand. But there's some of these pitches that are right down the middle of the plate. And to no one's surprise, some of the more infamous umpires like C.B. Buckner are the guys that are getting exposed.
Wow. Yeah, I think part of the fun is just the whole battle sometimes between a tough umpire and then the coach comes out and fights him over it. But it's going to be everything. It's going to be the whole game is going to be judged.
Well, you only get two.
Two what?
You only get two challenges.
In the whole game?
Yes.
Oh.
Now you keep the two if you're right. So you can have as many
you can do
as many as you want if you're right. But once you're wrong, you lose it. And then if it goes into extra innings and you don't have any, each team gets one per inning.
But what if it ends up that they just say, let's just do it 100% of the time. Let's call it by machine.
They might do that. You can't, obviously you can't do that on the bases. So the umpiring position won't become obsolete.
Well, maybe, but maybe not. That's, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. One umpire, C.B. Buckner, and as I said at the top of the show, when fans like me know your name as an umpire, that's not good. That's not good. Hey, Siri, how old is umpire C.B. Buckner? I asked my producer, but he's gone. No. How old is umpire C.B. Buckner?
I found this on the web.
Okay, let's see how old is. What do you think, Cathy?
72.
Oof, God, that'd be bad.
Well, I just did it because I thought.
Oh, he's my age.
Oh,
In fact, I'm older than he is.
Oh, okay.
He's born August 23rd. I'm born August 3rd. He's older. He's younger than I am.
How old is he?
You know how old I am?
No.
He's 55.
Oh, well, that's
No,
child.
I'm kidding, Kathy.
How old
I'm
you
63.
are? Okay, he's 63. I thought he was some really old person. That's why I said so.
That's pretty damn old for an umpire. 63.
Yeah, but then, they know their business and they're
Apparently he
part
doesn't.
of the.
Apparently he doesn't. CB don't. But
well.
What are you going to do? I want to begin with something that I texted you about topics today, and I did not text you on this one because it broke late. And I'm on Pete Hegseth's side. I really am.
Oh, I heard you mention.
I really am. And I'm, as a Catholic, and God forgive me for bringing this up during Easter week, but I think Pope Leo's lost his mind. And I shouldn't put it like that. I disagree with the Pope.
And you're the one to do it, Ralph Bailey and the Pope.
I know, just in case my mother's
Pick your side.
Well, Heggs started talking about, and I don't like the way he worded it, praying that God will help us hit the targets, and the way he put it, that violence will reign on those that don't deserve pity or something like that. And then the Pope came in and said this: God does not listen to prayers of those who wage war. And I'm like,
oh, news
really?
to me. How do you find that out?
Thank you. And that's one of the problems that I've had with the Catholic Church and the whole Pope thing. God, I hate the way I put that. But you know what I'm saying? You put one man with that much power and he can just say something like that? Really?
How does he know what God does or doesn't? I thought he was upset that Pete Hegseth said God's on our side or we're on the side of God or something.
Yes.
Well, that's Pete Hegseth. That's what he thinks. But I don't know who can tell him he's wrong except Iranian big shots.
Hegseth took this out of a page of Dwight Eisenhower pre-D-Day.
Well, and our nation is founded on a belief in God.
And that's the other question. Are we, and this is what CNN was pumping up, hey, I had one of the hosts, we're a secular society. It's certainly a secular military. I don't know about that.
I think I think the defense, the war secretary has every right to express an opinion like that. I don't see anything wrong with what he said, and I don't see why the Pope even engaged.
Thank you.
For goodness sakes, God is brought up in a lot of occasions, sometimes in profanity-wise, and I don't see him pipe up, so I don't know why he did that.
The CNN host threw this out. Aren't we getting into our God is better than your God debate?
Well, is there a different God between a Catholic God and whatever Pete Hegseth is?
A Muslim God, particularly when you're dealing with the Middle East.
They do have an attitude about non-Muslims that the rest of us don't hate the world that isn't Christian.
Is it really out of line to say our God is better than your God when you tell me that your God is for the destruction of the American people? That you believe in a God that thinks that we should all die?
Right.
Is it really that controversial to say, yeah, our God's better? Well, our God wants everybody to thrive.
Right, and their opinion is that God says you start killing a bunch of Americans and stuff, you get a special place.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to swallow.
So Pope Leo, our God is better. How's that?
There we go.
You heard it from me first.
Listen to Ralph Bailey, Pope.
Thank you.
Isn't he from Chicago?
Yes, he is. An American Pope bagging on our Secretary of Defense. I thought was a little out of line.
That's a little much.
I thought
that's a lot much.
Yeah. Where do you want to go? You want to go to CPAC? You want to go to, what do you want to go?
Well, I did want to mention, because the news to me isn't carrying this very fair. The reason that Republicans couldn't go in the House with the Senate is that the Senate was still not going to pay for Border Patrol and ICE. So,
that's paid for till 29.
Well, but they wanted this idea that we're going to start picking things out. We shouldn't, that would be law for however long, whenever it could back in. So that, to me, that is legitimate reason, but certainly shutdowns. I was looking at, now you said, who did you say had the first shutdown? You said Truman, but when I thought you said, I heard you say earlier.
That,
you said,
no, I alluded to Truman.
You were saying Harry S. Truman, but you said, because when I looked
at what was my allusion to Truman, Chris? Do you remember? I forget what I was talking about.
That it was the first government shutdown, I thought you said.
No.
Oh, okay, because it was actually Jerry Ford. Not till 76, we didn't have government shutdown.
I can't remember what I was alluding to, but I said, we haven't done this since Truman. I can't remember what I was talking about, but it wasn't shutdown.
So there was only one when Ford was president. It was over HEW at the time, Health and Education and Welfare. And there were 5 shutdowns during Carter, 8 during Reagan's 2 terms. And,
really?
Yeah. But because those first 2, Ford and Carter didn't have more than 1 term. And Ford had, a couple of years. But Clinton's ran between 5 and 21 days. And I remember when Clinton, one of the first things they did, because I tell people, well, a lot of this government shutdown, other than this paycheck scam, which I don't like that they're not paying them, President Clinton had to put a big closed on Yosemite. And I'm thinking, okay, 1/10 of 1/1,000,000th of the population was thinking of going to Yosemite tomorrow. But it made a great picture on the front page. So, so there were several times, but it hasn't been something in deep in our history. It's really only been, and actually,
but now they're getting longer. We've had 2 record-breaking shutdowns back to back. We broke the record in the last one, and we just broke that record with this one as it continues to go on close to 50 days.
Well, I wish they hadn't left. I agree with the idea of let's tie Congress's paycheck to everything else because
it would end immediately.
Yeah. They do make a lot more money, but they also must have higher mortgages because they make a lot more money. And
you got to pay for those 3 houses.
Yeah.
You got one in you got one in Georgetown. You got one here in California.
Yeah, you have the fake one in the district, and then you have another, particularly for in some parts of big cities.
And then your vacation home.
And then your vacation home to get away from the constituents.
All on $175,000. Isn't that amazing?
And who was just on the news saying, some Democrat senator that said, "Oh no, this isn't a vacation. We're going home to work with our constituents."
Yes, this gives me an opportunity to meet with my constituents. Are they in the Bahamas? That's what, huh?
Well, they went down there. I followed them.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty cheesy because they've had Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do all that for months and months. So, no, it's not doing the job and admitting the fact sometimes, you're not in the majority, so you don't get to call the shots and you go campaign and get in the majority, but you don't stop the government from the basics, the most basic, these airport lines, to think people have to, the only people that gain on that airport business, can you think of the airport restaurants and the gum and sales and everything else?
Love and life.
You know how much money they're making?
Yeah.
Then I had this idea. Why doesn't Bakersfield Airport run big billboard ads in Santa Clarita and say, hey, drive here and get through security in Bakersfield in 4 minutes? And yeah, you have to drive here and back, but it isn't risking being in the other. So
by the time you get into a TSA line at LAX, you could jump in your car, be here, go through the line, get on a plane, and you'd still have been in line at LAX.
Yes.
2.5, 3 hours later.
Exactly.
It's absolutely true.
I'd even offer them free parking.
Yeah.
The whole works. Because can you imagine if so actually I think Supervisor Flores is looking in to see how loaded have their planes been, because if they're 20% empty, it's perfect. So
yeah, you're right. I put them south and north.
Yeah.
Talk to the Fresno folks because I bet Fresno's airport is a nightmare.
Yeah, but ours has always been very small. It's very quick. I hope they're all working, but even if they're not, we only have a couple of planes a day. But so I don't know, just a thought.
These things are getting popular because each side thinks that they can put it on the doorstep of the other party, and they think they can get political gain out of that. And I just
I don't know.
So shameful.
I can't imagine when I see those airport lines. I don't even like them during normal times. And then I'm thinking, if you want to get out and go to the bathroom, you hope somebody will save your spot.
Yeah.
And then if you got kids with you, my gosh, what do you do with them? They should have some place where you can put your kid while you stand in line. That's mothers with babies. I mean, the whole thing.
And this comes on the heels where they were just kind of changing how we go through it. Like you don't have to take off your shoes anymore. Right. And they were just trying to streamline it a little bit, try to make it a little quicker. And now you got a 3-hour wait.
And I don't have one of those clear passes that they sell.
Yeah.
That gets you through that. I think those things still work a little better, but I don't think much. And they say some airports don't even have the service, so it won't matter. But I was going to talk to you about the ballot, the polling. You wanted to talk about how it's going to go Bianco and Milton and all that. So I always do this every year. I like to see the randomized alphabet drawing. That's how the Secretary of State draws the alphabet out, and that's the order you'll be on the ballot.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah,
I didn't know that.
And we don't have primaries anymore. And how many people do you think are running for governor?
Well, there are 4 that matter, maybe 5, but I'm guessing it's a large number. I won't do I won't do the Chris Burdick and blow your bid for you and say some huge number. So I'll say 15.
No. We got 24 Democrats, 12 Republicans, 23 no party preference.
Wow.
So then you go to the alphabet drawing, which starts with J.
So incredible.
Bianco and Hilton are down here at the bottom. So there will be
Why is
lots of folks.
Bianco so low with a B?
Because they draw the alphabet. No, they draw the alphabet.
Random draw. It's not alphabetical.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it starts with J, D, P, A, V, N. So Porter, she's right up there. Katie Porter. She'll be the third one on the ballot. And I know people are looking for, their own particular candidate. But here, did you know Barack Obama Shaw is running?
Really?
I could run as Barack Obama Abernathy, because this person's going to get votes, because people are that. And because we don't have a real primary anymore, so all these folks are lumped together. All these.
That guy 65. Is going to get 37 votes. Cathy.
I bet. Okay, you said 37.
Oh, no. We're going to put some money on it. I'll say he'll get 112 votes. And that's the over-under. And
it could be a woman, but who knows? Okay, yeah. 112. And I'm going to say, let's see. I'll say 310.
Hell, Betty Yee won't get 312.
Well, Betty Yee, she's one of the, Vilgarosa, Porter, Vilgarosa, and Yee are going to be in the beginning, but still there's a lot of letters in between them with other candidates. So they'll be in the first 10.
Don't those people know Betty Yee, Tony Thurman, Antonio Villaraigosa? Don't they know that they have ruined their political careers? Because if we screw around and get two Republicans assuring us a Republican governor, everybody's going to look at those guys and remember the words of the state Democratic leader who just said, if you got 5% or less, get out. And did you hear the latest ruckus? That they're claiming that the exclusion was based on race.
What exclusion?
The fact that they weren't the debate that got. I'm sorry. Let me start again. I'm getting a little excited. They had a gubernatorial debate scheduled for the University of Southern California. It got canceled because they eliminated so many of the players because only about 4 of the 24 contestants have double-digit numbers. Everybody else is 2, 1, 2, 4. And the state chair went to those guys, the ones I just mentioned, and said, just get out if you don't have 5%. If you got 5% at this point, you ain't going to win. I'm pretty sure about that. And they all stuck in, and they're all on the ballot. And I'm telling you, Cathy, and I've told you this from the get-go, and you've always been like, yeah, I hope so, but no, we'll see. There are going to be 2 Republicans on the top of that ticket. I said it right now. Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco are going to go head-to-head for the gubernatorial race, which will be fascinating. In November, on the general, which will be fascinating only because they can't stand each other.
That's true. That's come out. You can already see that's come out. Yeah, that would be something. And Bianco would have an edge with the Hispanic last name, even though he's not Hispanic.
Bianco, that's Italian.
Well, but it can go either way. Yeah. Compared to Hilton with a British accent.
I'm pretty sure Latinos know that that's not a Latino name, Cathy.
Well, I don't think of it that way, but I'm not Latino, but I don't think Bianco, I'm going to check. I don't think that's pretty only Italian. Okay.
Pretty sure.
Well, you got others who can, I don't know.
Wouldn't that be funny if he's Mexican? It couldn't be more.
He will for the general, but so anyway, yeah, that alphabet drawing is important. So it also affects local. The races depend on it too. Like I was looking up Jeff Flores and his opponent. Jeff will be first. His opponent's name starts with not F. F comes up sooner than O. So anyway, it does have slight impact with people that just go down. My biggest problem is the number of people that drop off after voting for governor. By the time they get down to things that matter here, smaller races.
You keep mentioning Katie Porter. You still think she's a player?
Yeah, I do. I think her name is known. I think she's known as one tough fighter. And I think that there's probably women. Do we have another woman candidate? I mean, Betty Yee, but I don't think she's got a presence.
In contention. I think you're forgetting about Tom Steyer and the late charge he's making.
He's on TV every 4 minutes.
Exactly. He's got enough money he can print his own.
Right.
I think he's going to be a player in this thing at the end of the day.
Well, last time he spent a lot of money, but he didn't get anywhere. But
he's got traction this time.
Yeah, but he's got so much he's starting now. But as you know, the ballots hit May 5th, 6th, 7th. So you start watching April 27, and these other people's ads will start cluttering up the scene too.
Yeah.
So, just because right now he's advertising, I wouldn't put too much stock in that. I don't think it has long-term impact. I like to husband our resources to the last when people finally pay attention.
So I didn't finish my SC story. So what they were claiming was that it was racist, that the exclusion was based not on your percentage of the vote that you had at the time, but based on race, because Betty Yee is Asian and Tony Thurman's black and Villaraigosa's Mexican, and they made it a racial thing. And I'm like,
and so they canceled it. And they canceled
it. SC relented, and they canceled the debate.
I can't believe they did that. And that could be any race where you have 2 or 3 of one race and everybody else is, so you can't hold it because you got to color code everything.
And
That's ridiculous.
Me, I'm quick to spot racism, but this is stupid.
Yeah.
Come on. You've got 5% right now. You're not going to win. You're not even going to be a player. You're not even going to be a factor. The undecided vote has got more votes than you do.
And it won't be much of a debate because probably the candidates will get 2 or 3 questions at the most. You can't have everybody responding back and forth. And so if you want to educate the audience and get the media, everybody covering it more, you have to limit.
What reporter is going to go back to his editor and say, I got some great advice from Tony Thurman. Where will you hear him? Nobody wants to hear nobody even knows who Tony Thurman is. You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking you got to raise the filing fee is about $4,000. I can't believe these people. The Barack Obama
That's
shot.
That's the classic.
Well, here's Thunder Parley.
Read some names for us.
Well, Derek Getty, maybe like Getty Oil, Getty Museum. Naomi Barlev, Erin Zez, Z-E-Z, and her last name is Z-E-Z-U-L-A-K, so she goes by Erin Zezulak.
Does it have a job description?
Consultant, nurse, businesswoman. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but some of those are crazy.
I'm telling you, we are about to have a Republican governor.
I hope.
I don't know who it's going to be.
Well, there's only two. There's only two to count.
I don't know which. You think it's going to be Bianca?
State. I don't know. Hilton's pretty sharp on the debate stage.
Yeah.
And but they both have good issue positions, of course, and they're Republicans. So I agree.
At least Bianca's spending a lot of time in the Central Valley. I don't see.
Yeah.
Steve Hilton spends a lot of time in Fresno. I noticed.
Yeah, well, and Orange County, and there's so many more voters outside of Kern and Fresno, but
absolutely
you just have to be down there.
Have a wonderful Easter.
Thank you, Ralph.
We'll see you Monday.
Okay.
Cathy Abernathy. Quick time out. Back half of the hour. It's TRBS on a Monday. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SLN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Authorities say a 15-year-old student shot a teacher at a Texas high school and then fatally shot himself. Comal County Sheriff Mark Reynolds says they're still working to understand what led to the shooting Monday morning at Hill Country College Preparatory High School in Bulverde, a small but growing city near San Antonio. No other injuries were reported. The teacher was taken to a nearby hospital. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf allies of the U.S. are urging President Trump to keep prosecuting his war against Iran, saying the month of strikes has not weakened Tehran enough. That's according to U.S., Gulf, and Israeli officials. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are pushing the hardest, with the UAE favoring a ground invasion. On Wall Street, the Dow by 49 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Victor Farias is set to make his first appearance in Kern County Superior Court today to face charges that he stabbed to death 30-year-old Yolanda Rojo last week at a house on College Avenue, then fled to Tehachapi where he wrecked his car and was later captured there. Kern County Sheriff's deputies have not yet announced an arrest in a shooting that happened Saturday night in East Bakersfield at an apartment complex on Kentucky Street, which is near Mount Vernon Avenue. The victim was a man, say deputies, but his condition has not been discussed publicly, nor have the circumstances surrounding the shooting. Gas in California is steady with $5.83 for the state average. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Bang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, the Pentagon is preparing for weeks of ground troops in Iran. Plus, the scammers are getting so good, it's nuts.
Old interviews with Gavin Newsom's wife keep turning up. Oh my God, is she going to be a focus going forward? So, we got a lot for you on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
I'm really happy here in this lonely game we play.
The great George Benson.
Finding all the standing with lost in a mass of masquerade.
TV. This is my go-to with females in the 80s.
Or is the song?
No, George Benson. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like overly romantic. It's not like Barry Zoller, Barry Switzer,
Barry Allen.
There are too many Barrys. Yeah, but who was I thinking of? Barry
Manilow?
No, Barry White. It's not like Barry White, like you know, it's not like over the top, but it's kind of mellow and it's a little romantic and it's just this kind of background music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That was my thing when I was in my 20s. When I actually had a record player, and I have no music in my house.
Why?
Because I go to the 65 and I put it on a music channel.
That still counts.
And it fills. I can hear it in my bedroom. It fills the house.
It still counts.
Well, I just mean I don't have like a stereo or a full
surround sound.
Yeah, no. I pump up. I put that thing on 60 on the 65. And I get calls from my neighbors. All right, Ralph. No, I'm kidding. I love my neighbors.
I was gonna say, if you get some spare cash, investing in a speaker system wouldn't be the worst idea. Or not like a speaker system, but a speaker.
For the 65?
No, just like a small little Bluetooth speaker.
And you know what? I from my days when I did have music in my house, I still have a suitcase of CDs that I have no idea what to do with. They're just sitting in a suitcase in my closet in the second bedroom, which is essentially a closet. 842-5376-842-KERN. So we are finally getting some sobriety and common sense to the transgender issue when it comes to athletics. And it came from a guy, I didn't realize just how much cachet Bob Costas has. Did you see him on the initial broadcast? He's still outstanding, but did you see him on the field? I did not realize. I knew he was a little guy, but you've met Steve Garvey. You were producing the show when Garvey came to town, weren't you? He's a little guy, right?
Yeah, he was.
He's about 5'9", 5'10", maybe.
Roughly.
I saw him stand next to Costas. He towers over him. Costas, who I've never met, I've been at Dodger Stadium when he's been there, but I've never met the man. He's got to be like 5'6". He is tiny. He was standing up next to Kershaw, who was doing the broadcast that day. And I mean, it was like Shaq and Kevin Hart. I'm like, damn, he's a tiny little guy. But in the broadcasting business, he is a monster. He truly is. And he is considered the Vince Scully of baseball now. If there's a baseball question or there needs to be a baseball comment, like they quoted him on the ABS, where he thinks it's one of the best things that's ever happened to baseball. And I don't know what show he was doing, but somehow they got on the topic of transgender athletes, obviously in the wake of the International Olympic Committee banning biological males vying with biological females. And I just had to play this for you because I have never heard a more sound, simple, succinct, common sense answer to this question. And the metaphors that Costas uses are absolutely brilliant.
Common sense is not transphobic. There's a reason why the high school champions don't compete with the college champions. There is a reason why no trans man who was once a woman and has become a man has ever competed successfully with men in the Olympics. If Caitlin Clark could play in the NBA, everybody would applaud it. That'd be an incredible thing. But if the last guy on the bench of an NBA team went to the WNBA and started averaging 40 points a game, everyone would know that is BS. There's a reason why Sugar Ray Leonard, who was a contemporary of Mike Tyson, didn't fight Mike Tyson. They were in different weight classes. There is a reason why there are men's and women's sports and why Title IX was one of the truly progressive pieces of legislation in the best sense of the word progressive under the Nixon administration. It changed everything. I had a sister who never played a single organized sport. One generation later, 2 children of my own. My daughter played just about as many organized sports as my son. That's a great thing. It doesn't make any sense to have a swimmer who was the 472nd ranked swimmer when he was a man at Penn, either winning or coming close to winning against women a year and a half after transitioning. If that's what the person wants to do, that person should be treated with dignity and respect. But there ought to be common sense, and common sense is not transphobic. And this policy is common sense.
100,000%. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. And I have not heard, other than from my own pie hole, allusions to Title IX and how life-changing that has been for women. And now we're trying to regress. Because I told you the story. When I was at CSUB, I went to high school with a young woman. I'm not going to bring her into this. She's now I think she's a high school basketball coach. And she was a superstar at West High School. Absolute superstar. Obviously wanted to go to college in her own town. And she did in the 90s when there was no female basketball team. Had CSUB had a girls basketball team in the 90s, she would have dominated. She would have been a D2 star. And who knows what her cachet would be like as a coach now, coming off an incredibly successful collegiate career. You know what I'm saying? And it is Title IX much to the chagrin of the wrestling program at the time, but that's what added some of the female programs at CSUB. And to think that we're going backwards now. And the point that Costas made is brilliant. And it's obvious, but it's brilliant. And it's basic common sense that you never see let's say the daughter of Sonny and Cher, who now recognizes herself as a man. You never see her wanting to compete with men. You never see a biological female who says, I'm now Ralph, want to compete with men. Why? It's common sense. They can't. They absolutely can't. But if you're a biological male and you identify as a woman, you're not, Bob had it wrong. That's the only thing he had wrong. You don't go from middle of the pack as a man to maybe winning occasionally as a woman. You dominate. You absolutely dominate. And we haven't even discussed the locker room situation. Even on a collegiate level, do you really want your 20-year-old daughter walking around with some guy with his swinging junk hanging around, walking through the locker room because he identifies as a woman? It's the dumbest thing in the world. Democrats are hanging on to this thing for reasons that are absolutely inexplicable, but okay, be the 20% on an 80-20 issue. Go right ahead. It's the one hope we have for 28 and the midterms. Are these 80-20 issues that the Democrats are doubling down on? And I mean, it just, I hear myself talking and I'm like, am I really talking about this? The basic logic that a biological male is stronger than a biological female? We really have to like debate that now? 21st century, man. It's just amazing. But let's hope that what the IOC has done, and maybe Costas's voice and maybe the rising voices, because remember, Riley Gaines was disputed. She didn't have the Costas cachet. She didn't have that kind of credibility. So she was accused of, it was Katie Porter who accused her of, she was on Bill Maher about 6 or 7 months ago. I think even before I think she was a Congress member at the time. I don't think this was even during her gubernatorial run, where she said that Riley Gaines was doing this to draw attention to herself. She's trying to get clicks and likes and stuff like that, which is, for immature people that get some self-gratification. People looked at my event and that somehow gives you, I don't know, some self-esteem, I suppose. But that's not what she's about. That is not what she's about. Why am I hearing audio? There you go. But Costas comes in with decades of credibility and just a plain old common sense approach with great metaphors, great analogies, and hopefully that in the IOC on a global level will, I don't know, shift minds. At least let's start talking just basic common sense. Teresa Golder doesn't like it, but I kind of like what the CIF has done. I mean, it's not the best case scenario, but at least they're doing something where if I identify as a woman and I'm racing against Chris and I win, Chris finished second, I get recognized as the winner, but so does Bernie as the top female. You see what I'm saying? So I get credit for winning, but so does the female who finished the second. Gets credit for finishing first. Like I said, it's not the greatest compromise, but it's better than that girl finishing second and feeling like she got cheated. Just saying. Quick riddle, Chris.
What you got?
If I'm in a race and I pass the person in second place, what place am I in?
Second place.
Nicely done. Most people get that wrong and say I'm in first place.
No,
you just passed the guy in second. You're in second place. 8 out of 10 people get that wrong, if you can believe that. That's what I was told. I got it right. I immediately got it right. If you pass the second, you're in second. And the person asked me was like, I can't believe you got that right. I was like, why is that hard? She was like, I don't know, but everybody I've asked always gets it wrong because they're stupid. And Mr. Brenner can hire educated men. Quick time out. Coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday, Easter week. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.
Messmaker.
KERN. It's the JR Show.
Here's my thing. I don't need to shake your hand. I don't need to have dinner with you once a month. I don't need to take pictures at whatever function we go to. I don't need to call you my friend. No, what I need for you to do is play by the rules and do your job. At least some of us in this town will still call people out and hold them accountable.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
It's been a bad week for the economy, the Dow Jones, the stock market, as the war continues to go on. We'll talk about that on Thursday with our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And if you are kind of tossing it around like I am in terms of your retirement and Social Security and your 401k and your investments, you need to call and sit down and talk with Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Do it today. Call them at 395-9400, 395-9400. As I've talked about, I've turned on several people here at our company to Daniel, and they could not be happier about the work that he's done for them. Call him, 395-9400, and his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Again, he's on the program every Thursday at 4:30. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Look up in the sky. Yeah, that's what they cry. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's them. It's Paul Sheldon's team, that well-oiled machine of Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Okay, not superpowers, but still thousands of hours deciphering Medicare's whims, fighting the good fight, learning what works right. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. So it might seem old-fashioned, but hard work with passion most often gives you the win. And the trio that knows are those Medicare pros, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
I can't remember. It's something about the leaders in the cabinet. I have it circled there.
I know, but I can't remember what she's talking about.
Hold on.
2298. Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month.
The Department of War going to prayer.
Buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110. Guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
800-676-1090. 800-676-1090. That's 800-676-1090.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
Paid for by Airtime Media. I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly.
Historically black college graduate Roberta Flack, second or third best HBCU. She, along with Kamala Harris and Felicia Rashad, are Howard graduates. Good school. Not Morehouse, certainly not Spelman, but good school. Good school. 842-537-6842 KERN. I'm just getting a text message from Miss Goldner. Guess where she's going next? They're not going to their New York pad in Brooklyn Heights.
No, of course not.
They're not going to Washington. They're not going. Where has she been recently? Where did she go recently? She went somewhere crazy recently.
Alaska?
No, I don't think she's been to Alaska lately. She's going to China. God.
Must be nice.
That's what I'm saying. Terry, if you need a valet, I'm available. Dodger game, China, Dodger game, Jackie Robinson, China. Sorry, Jack. I'm going to Beijing, my brother. Wow. Well, let me know. We got to talk about that. That sounds like that's a segment. Just to hear her itinerary, where she's going to be, what she's going to see. I'm assuming that she's going to see the Great Wall, and I'm assuming she's going to Beijing. Wouldn't you? I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm telling you, one of the most fascinating classes was annoying because it was from 6 to 9 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 in the evening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But one of the most fascinating classes I ever took at Cal State Bakersfield, taught by Kay Bragg, who I don't think is there any longer. But it was about Chinese government. And I learned really what communism was all about and the class system, the pyramid class system that China exists. And just the idea, the thing that I walked away from that class just thinking, and I never really embraced this when I studied communism, was the idea that whatever class that you're born in, that's where you're dying. There is no movement. There is no social movement in China. If you're born poor, you die poor. If you're born rich, you die rich. And just the Civil War that I didn't even know took place in the 60s and how Mao Zedong came to power, it was literally the single most fascinating class I took when I was at CSUB. Kay Bragg, she was a wonderful professor. I don't know if, I mean, I guess for the experience, it'd be nice to go to China. I don't know. To see how those people live, I don't think would be very pleasant.
Yeah, not really.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just knowing that they're under the thumb of the government. Oh, here, this has got to be a location. This has got to be, yes, Great Wall, Beijing. It's one of the reasons I've been working to get into shape. Barry threatened, I don't know if you want me to say that. Barry threatened to leave me in the dust on the Great Wall if I couldn't keep up. That was like funny. That was a base hit, Terry. You can take a lot of pictures. If you can. I don't know if the government lets you take pictures. There's another.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Could you even take pictures of the Great Wall? Do they allow that? I'm assuming.
I think so.
I'm assuming they'd want you to export that. It's their greatest. You know, you can see the Great Wall from a satellite. If you're orbiting the Earth, you can see the Great Wall. You can see the outline of the Great Wall from space. Just a little stupid bit of trivia, if you give a damn. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Dave is on the line.
Dave, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, it's Dave. Did you play golf this weekend?
I did not. I had to run to LA, and then I had some other things I had to do Sunday.
Is everybody okay?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's doing well.
Good. Hey, you're talking about world traveling and stuff. I just watched this incredible thing on the Incas this weekend, and it was fascinating. And I thought, you know what? I don't have to go down there and see all these relics. I can catch it on TV and feel good about myself. I mean, there's nothing like walking on the Great Wall of China.
No kidding.
But to see and just how interesting it was, and it makes me want to study that civilization a little bit more, read about it. Just like when you read about the Revolutionary War, or when you do the month of February, you talk about Black History Month, and it kind of spurs interest in different things, and which you've witnessed firsthand, and then living down in the South too. So, there's a lot we can do by reading and watching film. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, television has never been better in terms of education if it's used properly. I've always said that, even when I was a kid, and it was considered the idiot box. And if you watched a lot of television in the 20th century, you were considered non-intellectual. You were considered kind of a dummy. You really were. And I would always just like poo-poo that because I was watching stuff when I was a teenager, like C-SPAN and the Discovery Channel and the History Channel. And if used correctly, television is an amazing educational tool. It really, truly is. But there's nothing like being.
The History Channel comes up with some great stuff. You make a great point there.
Yeah, but there's nothing like actually saying you've been to these places. Don't get me wrong. I would just China would not be. I've chronicled my international list in no particular order. It's Greece, Spain, and maybe go back to Switzerland. Greece, Spain, and go back to Switzerland. Yeah, and Italy. Italy's big.
Meeting that little girl on the French Riviera, laying down and seeing all that extra hair that scares you away.
Yeah. Well, she's probably in her mid 60s now, so I probably I'll take a pass on that. But yeah, that's part of my history.
I love that story, though.
Thank you.
Hey, you know how I feel. You need to write that book, brother. You got a lot of memories.
Yeah. I'm putting facts down in a booklet, and we'll see. I got to fly, Dave. Thanks for the call. Always good to hear from you, man.
Take care.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. 842-5376, 842-KER. And of course, he's alluding to a story that I've told thousands of times where I could have lost my virginity to a French girl on the banks of the Ardèche River. I had the wine. She was all into me. And I didn't even know it. My best friend, John Temporal, told me, that girl digs you, Rob. I was like, no, she doesn't. And then later in the day, she kept coming up to me. I was like, God, he's right. And so at the end of the day, we've been swimming and kayaking, and she was part of a hostel that we were staying the night. We were just staying the one night. We would spend 3 days going down the Ardèche River, going on our way to Lyon. And we had kayaks and canoes. And then we would stop at dusk and meet up with some of these hostels that are all lining the banks of the river. And we hooked up with this one group, and I met this young lady, Martine. And she's a very attractive young girl, white as the bottom of a shark. And I put the wine in the sand. We were laying. It was a beautiful night. It was a full moon. I'm in Paris. I mean, what a great story would that have been? I lost my virginity to a French girl on the banks of the Ardèche River in France. Are you kidding? And she laid back and she put her hands up like this, exposing her underarms. And I mean, it wasn't hair. It was a full-blown afro under her arm. This is 1979. I'm 17 years old. I had never seen that. I mean, I'm dealing with these rich girls that shave their legs every day, let alone their damn armpits. And when I saw I swear to God, this is what I did. I mean, literally what I did. I'm laying there and she goes like that. And I look over and I'm like, and I go, you know what? I'm so sorry. We've got a thing. I gotta go. Wait. I don't want to leave my wine. I literally went back and grabbed the wine. Panicked, walked off, got about 10 yards. I was like, wait a minute. That was a full bottle of wine. And she's like, oh, you're coming back? I go, no, I forgot my wine. Ran off. Could have been a great story. Quick time out, final hour of the broadcast on this Monday, kicking off Easter week. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Don't go anywhere.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump threatens to seize Iran's main oil terminal in the Persian Gulf. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
Trump has told the Financial Times the U.S. has, quote, a lot of options and that troops could stay on the island for a while. Iran has threatened to mine the Persian Gulf if its territory is invaded. The U.S. and Israel kept up attacks on Iran, even as early ceasefire talks showed some progress. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One Sunday, Trump said the U.S. has been negotiating with Iran both directly and indirectly.
We're doing extremely well in that negotiation, but you never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up.
Trump also said Iran has agreed to let 20 oil ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm Mike Hempen.
Cuba will soon get a big delivery of much-needed oil from Russia.
Cuba is preparing to receive a sanctioned Russian oil tanker as the island struggles under a U.S. oil blockade. Cuban authorities say the tanker is due to arrive on Monday at the port of Matanzas. It comes a day after President Donald Trump said he had no problem with the delivery. The U.S. crackdown has cut Cuba off from key oil shipments, the shortages triggering blackouts and fuel lines. It's also strained hospitals and public transport. Experts say the cargo could be turned into diesel, covering the daily amount for the country for about 10 days. I'm Charles Dillon.
The countdown has begun towards humanity's first launch to the moon in 53 years at Florida's Kennedy Space Center. The 32-story Space Launch System rocket is poised to blast off Wednesday evening with 4 astronauts. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 49 points, the Nasdaq dropped 153, the S&P 500 lower by 25. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt, and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Court today for a man accused of killing a woman last week. I'm Chris Davis. The first hearing for 33-year-old Victor Farias is scheduled for today in Kern County Superior Court, says the docket. Farias is accused of stabbing to death 30-year-old Yolanda Rojo at a house on College Avenue last Thursday, then fleeing to Tehachapi, where he wrecked his car, ran off, and was later captured there. The stabbing is believed to have happened during a domestic fight between the two. A shooting Saturday night in East Bakersfield is being investigated by Kern County deputies who have not announced an arrest yet. They say the victim was a man who was taken to the hospital, but his condition has not been made public. That shooting was on Kentucky Street, not far from Mount Vernon Road, at an apartment complex. You will soon see the likeness of St. Isidore the Laborer in place of Cesar Chavez on the outside of a new restaurant that's getting ready to open in Arvin. The owner has decided to replace Chavez on a mural and hired artist Ernesto Aguilar to do the job, painting over Chavez with a representation of the Catholic patron saint of farm workers, which is the latest local replacement of Chavez. While it's not a coordinated effort, many other entities have decided to do the same since the sexual abuse accusations in the New York Times article. Gas prices could best be described as steady today, and for the past several days, says Gas Buddy, reporting the state average for California is the same as it has been for about a week, now at $5.83. The national average has gone down a couple of cents and is at $3.95 per gallon. Washington State is still the closest to California with an average price of $5.29. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday, kickoff of Easter week. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. And the Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. I didn't put the book behind it. You can't really see the colors. I forgot. My bad. For all your IT needs, call Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators at 661-241-0638 or online at adaptive-net.com. And the Van Alstynes will be live in studio on Wednesday. They are doing, I saw them this weekend, not face-to-face, but on my telephone. They are doing very smartly video ads where it's just Jennifer and Ryan talking into a camera. Pretty good stuff. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Baines is on the line.
Baines, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, Ralph, I was just going to follow up from your last segment when you were talking about television being people thinking it made you stupid. You know, they used to call it the boob tube.
Yep, sure did, or the idiot box.
And then here's my other follow-up for you, is the Great Wall of China can be seen from space. There's one other man-made object. Do you know what it is?
They can be seen from space.
Two things that are man-made can be seen from outer space. One is the Great Wall.
And the other... the Space Needle in Seattle. No, that's a horrible guess. That's a horrible guess. It's man-made, because I'd say Grand Canyon, but you're saying it's man-made.
Man-made.
Jerry Stadium. I don't know. What do you got?
You want to hit? It's in California.
Man-made in California. You got any guesses, Burdick?
I've got nothing right now.
The Golden Gate Bridge?
How about the California Aqueduct?
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I would have never in the world guessed that. That's great information.
Well, you can use that to win a beer at your next trivia contest.
No kidding. Clearly.
Good show, Ralph. As usual. Have a good day.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Baines. Take care. 842-5376, 842-KERN. I did not know that. I do know this. You could have spotted, I should have said this because it would have been categorically correct, the Palisades fire. You could see that from space. Very notably, unfortunately. God, have you been down there since the fires?
I haven't actually.
Neither have I. I can't even imagine. I went to high school literally 5 minutes from Pacific Palisades. We almost moved to Pacific Palisades. I remember going with my mom and dad one afternoon and driving through Pacific Palisades. And I was like, yeah, let's move here. Instead, they went south. They went to the South Bay. But that was good information. Oh, by the way, speaking of good information, Ms. Goldner has expounded on her sojourn to China. She writes, I can text photos, but cannot post them on social media unless I get a VPN. She doesn't explain that acronym, but nevertheless, VPN, any guesses?
VPN is a...
oh, you know what it is?
It's a way to mask your internet searches, essentially.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't really explain it very well because I'm not smart enough to, but...
Video prohibitive network? Who knows?
Something of that nature, yeah.
It's because of something called China's Great Firewall. Grok AI says it, quote, is the world's most sophisticated and extensive internet censorship system. It's a blend of laws, government policies, and advanced technology that lets the Chinese government control what its citizens and visitors can access online. See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if I want to go to a country on vacation with a bunch of oppressed human beings who I know are living their worst life, and they have no alternative, no choice. They can't leave. They can't oppose the government. Critically, like I wouldn't go to China, though. Don't get me wrong. I'd go in a heartbeat, but it just wouldn't be my first choice, is what I'm saying. Officially, part of the Golden Shield Project, launched in 1998 under the Ministry of Public Security. It filters and blocks foreign websites, apps, and content while promoting domestic alternatives like Baidu Baidu instead of Google, WeChat instead of WhatsApp, and Weibo instead of X and Twitter. The nickname Great Firewall plays on China's iconic Great Wall, symbolizing a digital barrier to keep, quote, harmful, end quote, outside information from flowing in. Scary, huh? Yeah, it is. It really, really, really is. That's what I'm telling you. That Chinese government class I took was the most fascinating class I've ever taken because we just don't know a lot about Chinese history. It's not taught in high school. Other than that class at CSUB, I was never taught that at Morehouse, although I don't really know what I was taught at Morehouse because I was over at Spelman. But that's beside the point. There's just so many mysteries about, just the civil, like I said, the Civil War and the formulation of the government and how they form the government and how you can rise if you're part of that Chinese pyramid. But other than that, if you're outside of that, you're born poor, you're going to die poor. You're middle class, you're going to die middle class. There's just no social movement, no economic movement whatsoever in that country. And now it's kind of funny, after putting a ban on having babies, now they need babies, which is another topic I wanted to get into at some point. And it's one of the reasons that I watch The View. Not to hear what those cackling nitwits have to say, but it does fall under the ABC News umbrella, and they do come up with some great topics. And one, I don't know if we have time, that I wanted to get into was the idea that the CPAC convention was this weekend. So they had a bunch of speakers, obviously. Most of them elected officials, obviously the gubernatorial race, and there are a number of state senate races, and et cetera, et cetera. But some were just talking shop. And they were talking about Gen Z. And they were saying how Gen Zers are not having sex. They're not getting married. And even if they get married, they're not having babies. And this one woman was like, I think we should get the message to Gen Zs that they should be having babies. They should be getting married. And they should be procreating. And then that began a debate on The View, of course. They took the radical stance. Don't tell a woman, what to do with her body. And is that all women are supposed to do? Is that they're just relegated to having babies? And I'm just like, good God almighty. Women are supposed to have babies. That's not your only role, but it's one of the biggest. Is there a more important job than perpetuating your family line and reproducing and putting people on this planet that might solve problems? Everybody looks at birth like, oh, I wouldn't bring a child into this world and da-da-da-da-da. What if your child cures cancer? What if your child becomes an astronaut? What if your child is Tiger Woods? What if you won the lottery and your child is Shaquille O'Neal or Kevin Hart or Michaela Schifrin or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of sided with this woman. At first, it seemed like a kind of old school, ridiculous statement to tell people, go have babies. But what's the alternative? Tell them not to have babies? To encourage them? Because that's what the Chinese did. And their population stood still while demands rose. And now they're like encouraging them to have babies. In fact, I think at one point, the Chinese had a limit on the number of children you could have. China is a weird country, man. They did this thing in the 60s where women's feet could be only so big. And if your feet were bigger, they tie them up in these weird shoes to make your feet smaller. Because in the Chinese culture, big feet on a woman, I guess in all cultures, big feet on a woman is kind of unfeminine, I suppose. I think we're beyond that now because women are taller and just healthier and bigger. See how I selected my words very carefully there, healthier. Bigger is not, I should have thrown that one out. But China's a weird country. It really is. When you study it and you really examine how they live day to day, it's a crazy, crazy country. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Brian is on the line.
Brian, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Yeah, hey, Ralph. Just listening to you talk about The View and the fact that these left-wing individuals think that you can choose your own gender, why don't they then say that the men should have the babies instead of the women if they don't want the women to have babies? What do you think about that?
Yeah, might as well, since you can be anything you want. You know, you're right.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's lunacy.
All
It
right.
really is.
Just throwing that out.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks,
Take care. Let's go ahead and take a break. We come back. We'll talk a little sports. Is the automated ball strike system sustainable now that we've exposed some of the worst umpires in Major League Baseball? I just don't think it's sustainable because we've exposed some of the worst umpires in baseball. I mean, C.B. Buckner is an embarrassment. And we're a week into the schedule. So imagine how many overturned calls C.B. Buckner is going to have by the All-Star break. And do you really think that his fellow umpires and other umpires, there was one, the guy that got the Reds call, no, that was Buckner. It was Perez. Who's Perez played for? Catcher. Toronto?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. You're absolutely right. He tapped his head 3 consecutive times. On 3 straight pitches, he said, nope, that's a strike. The call has been overturned. Next pitch. Nope. I'm sorry, that's a strike. They look at it again. It was a strike. 3rd time in a row. Misses again. And he says, nope, I'm telling you, I'm a catcher. That's a strike. 3 times in a row, Perez got it right. And the umpire wasn't Buckner. It was one of the better umpires, allegedly. He got it wrong 3 consecutive pitches. You really think the umpire is just going to take this and be embarrassed and humiliated and basically shown to be, fairly incompetent? I just don't think so. I just don't think it's sustainable. At the same time, believing that it's the best thing in baseball. Quick time out. Coming right back. You'll hear from Gary Woodward. It's a very emotional thing for the PGA Pro who won for the first time in 6 years. I'll explain why it was such an emotional weekend for the young man. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Casey.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk about what's going on in the world of water with the best in the business. That would be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. We'll find out the latest of everything that's going on in Iran. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. We'll talk about it. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at Newstalk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Headed to KC Steakhouse tonight with our engineer, I believe, our good friend Rusty. And it's a fun way to kick off the week. And if you're thinking about Easter plans, I'll have some updates for you. I believe owner-operator is filling in for Mr. Flores tomorrow. Is she not, Mr. Burdick? Yes, she is. Cassie Biddle will be here at 2 p.m., and she'll be talking about some of the Easter things that they're doing this weekend as well. But we'll be talking about that throughout the week. It's a great way to spend the weekend on Easter. If you don't feel like hosting family, take them to F Street. Put them in the hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff. Show them the Stockyard, the speakeasy-like bar right next door. Open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday nights. Live music with an acoustic guitar in there as well. Go say hi to Haley. And, of course, Jimmy and Bobby providing live music in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Great way to spend your Easter weekend at KC Steakhouse.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here for King Door Company. I had my garage door installed over 20 years ago and it still works like the day it was installed. So I know all about King Door's quality products, but let's talk service. At King Door Company, it's an obsession. Whether you're having your garage door installed, serviced, or repaired, you can count on King Door Company to do it right. And it all starts with training. All King Door techs have been through the King Door Academy, an on-site training center where technicians study the very latest in garage door technology so that when they show up at your house, They have all the experience and product knowledge they need to take care of your garage door. They really are the state of the art. And when you pair that expertise with King Door's legendary customer service, you get a service experience that can't be beat. So whether you need a new garage door or just service on an existing door, regardless of who built or installed it, count on the pros at King Door to do the job right. Just call 397-2744 or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
John and David Cates, whose father was Gil Cates, at one point the president of the Directors Guild. He did some really good films. I can't think. Go look him up, Gil Cates. And then became an executive producer of the Academy Awards. And he's responsible for killing the entertainment dream of one Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr. David and I were really good friends. John was older than I was, but John played on our basketball team. John was a really good swing forward. He was about 6'2", and he could shoot the lights out. He's a redheaded kid. They're both redheads. Dad, the mom was redheaded. Mr. Cates is not. And David was one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. He got a perfect score on his SAT. He went to Brown, and he stayed in Rhode Island and is a shrink in, I believe, Providence, the capital of RI, where Mrs. Kelsey lives. Oh, not Donna, Taylor Swift. And of course, I got to tell the story, as I always do whenever I bring up Minnie Riperton. They were David's neighbors. They literally were David's neighbors. And I would always sneak in the backyard because I wanted to get a peek at Maya Rudolph at like 3. No, I'm kidding. Minnie Riperton was a gorgeous black woman, and I would literally sneak in David's backyard, or I'd come up with some excuse. Let's go throw the ball in the backyard. And David would be like, I'm not an athlete. Just come in the backyard with me. And they had these wooden fences, those old style wooden fences in the backyard. Maybe you still have them. And they had the big spaces in between them. And I would literally go up against the fence and look for Minnie Riperton. Just see if I get just a little peek at beautiful. Go look her up. She's a beautiful woman. Died young, did Miss Riperton. I think breast cancer. Don't quote me on that. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
When will the ground war start? We need to know the date and time.
I don't think the president knows the date or time. The deadline that he gave the Iranians is April 6th. I wouldn't be surprised if that's backed up. The president likes to do that, set deadlines, and then come up with some reason to back them up. Because remember, the original deadline was the end of the month, which is 31 days in March, would be tomorrow. But he's backed that up now until April the 6th, and he promises that we're going to go after them. And in fact, as I talked about at the top of the broadcast, he's now talking about going inside of their infrastructure in terms of their desalination plant, going after their water, going after their electricity. And again, as I said at the top of the show, and as I said at the top of Epic Fury, I applauded the president for selecting not to do that, and in fact, going out of his way to try to get Benjamin Netanyahu not to do that. We want to be the good guys. We want to be the emancipators. We want them throwing grapes at us as we march through the city of Tehran. We don't want them resenting us because we've destroyed their damn country. We want to kill the IRGC at the top of the neck and hope for a smart IRGC leader who could see himself as the Iranian George Washington. There's got to be somebody within that power grab that is smart enough to say, if we go in a different direction, we could still hate the Israelis, we could still hate the Americans, but just learn to assimilate and use us as they build up their nuclear infrastructure, because they're going to. No matter what we do, if we go in and get every drop of uranium, they're going to do the best they can to rebuild their uranium stockpile. There's no question about that, in my opinion. But if we can get to somebody smart who would think, I could take this country and the entire region into a different direction at the threat of a gun, don't get me wrong, but who could understand I could be bigger than any Ayatollah in the history of this country. Now, does that abandon who they are? To a certain degree. That's why this is going to be difficult. And to militarily open up the Strait of Hormuz or to put boots in the ground to find the 60% of enriched uranium that they have is going to be incredibly ticklish. And when I say that, I mean deadly. There will be casualties. There's no way we can keep the Strait of Hormuz open and find enriched uranium without men and women coming home in body bags. And that's when this thing gets incredibly precarious and kind of a boomerang effect on the administration. Because if think about, we have 13 dead now, and disapproval ratings are almost in the 60s. A Reuters poll over the weekend had the disapproval rating of Epic Fury at 59%. Imagine if there are 25, 30, 40, 50 American dead, where the disapproval numbers go. But at the same time, what if we open up the Strait of Hormuz? What if we take control, or at least seize it from the Iranians? Maybe not us totally in control, but at least take it away from the Iranians. Or what if we can make Iran a moderate player in the Middle East? I'm telling you, as bizarre as it may sound, Donald Trump would leave in 2029 as one of the greatest presidents who's ever lived. And if you hate the man, you've got to recognize that. Last half hour of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With us on news, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The FBI says a man with an assault-style rifle who crashed his pickup truck into a Detroit area synagogue earlier in March was carrying out an attack inspired by the militant group Hezbollah and was seeking to kill many Jewish people. The head of the FBI in Detroit, Jennifer Runyon, disclosed the new information Monday about the March 12th attack. She said Lebanon native Ayman Ghazali made video recordings minutes before the attack, saying he wanted to kill as many as he could. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf allies of the United States are urging President Trump to keep prosecuting his war against Iran, saying the month of strikes has not weakened Tehran enough. On Wall Street, the Dow by 49 points, the Nasdaq dropped 153. More details at smnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Court today for the first time for 33-year-old Victor Farias, who was accused of stabbing a woman to death during a domestic incident at a house on College Avenue last week. Farias was captured in Tehachapi after wrecking his car there. The woman was ID'd as 30-year-old Yolanda Rojo of Bakersfield. The patron saint of farm workers will be displayed on a mural outside of a new restaurant that is set to open in a couple of weeks in Arvin. The owner decided to replace the likeness of Cesar Chavez on a mural there with St. Isidore the Laborer and hired artist Ernesto Aguilar to do the job. Gas in California is at $5.83 on average and steady, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the absolute latest ongoing situation in Iran, and we will continue to update you on the chaos inside of airports and everything related to the government shutdown. All that and more. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you come hang with us for the Tuesday edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show. Live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
And the living is easy. Fish
are jumping and the cotton is high. Hence the phrase you've heard me use, I'm in the tall cotton. It's a southern phrase for everything's good. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. Well, I don't like this version. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Yeah, because I can't sing that slowly, Ella. I don't like that. Just got to pick it up a little bit. I heard some pretty good jokes before I get serious and wrap this thing up. I heard some pretty good racial jokes, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I should go here or not, but the one is there are two brothers that are going to a whitewash company. It's a company that can make you white. You walk in as an African American, you walk out as a white guy. But it's 99 cents a piece. And one guy's got $1 and the other guy's got 98 cents. So the two brothers get together and he says, well, you go in and you get it done and then come back and give me the change and I'll have 99 cents and I'll get it changed. I'll become white, just like you. And the first brother says, okay. So the first brother goes in and he comes out, he's completely white. He's got on Lulu, I don't know, what are Lulu pants and
Lululemon. Yeah.
and Lululemon. He's got on Birkenstocks, and he's just as white as the bottom of a shark. And so the second brother comes to him and says, all right, now give me the money so I can become white. And the guy says, get a job, Negro. And I cleaned that up. Is that funny? Now he's white. He's like, get a job. Leave me alone. I'm giving you any money. I thought that was funny. Let me see if I can remember the other one. Oh, the other one was an audio bit. I forgot to send you because it was other audio where they use it's a black. There are two things I was going to do. I'll do it tomorrow. There's a black quiz. There's another black quiz phrases. I'm going to test Mr. Burdick, and then there's another one where they give words and they have like an ethnic girl. Like the bit is use the word extinct in a sentence, and then the ghetto black girl comes on and she says, every time I walk into this room, it stinks. No? There's a couple. They're kind of funny. I don't know. I thought they were funny, but what do I know? 842-5376-842-KERN. So Gary Woodward is a pretty good guy and was a winner on the PGA Tour up until about 6 years ago. And unbeknownst to, I consider myself a pretty ardent golf fan. I'm sure Mr. Ragone was aware of this, who we'll talk to next week when we get ready for the Masters starting April the 9th. But I did not know that he had a tumor on his brain that was pressing against the portion of your brain that creates fear and anxiety. And can you imagine? I mean, the level of fear and anxiety that exists on the PGA Tour is a 10. Maybe not as much as it used to be, where guys depended on making the cut to pay their rent and their mortgage. Now, you finish 30th and you're going home with $150,000. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. It's not the same. But it's still competitive. And again, like I've always said, I'd rather get blown out than lose the way Duke did. You know what I'm saying? Because those Duke players will forever replay those last 10 seconds in their minds for the rest of their lives. When they're 63 years old, the guy that made that boozer will think about that pass. Because you know what he should have done, Mr. Burdick? You know how you break a press.
We hold on to the ball real quick, but...
Well, that's another point I was going to get to later. That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to get it across half court.
You didn't have 7 seconds to kill.
If it was an NBA game, they would have had to have gotten it across half court, because I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the NBA has changed the rule. You now have 8 seconds in the NBA to get it across half court. There was 10 seconds left in the game. So if it were an NBA game, they would have had to have got across court. There was only 10 seconds left. They didn't even have to get it across half court. And why they didn't give it to one good free throw shooter and just have him do curly kneel and dribble it out and make them foul him and hit 2 free throws, make it a 4-point game, and go home. Go to North Carolina. But I digress. Back to Gary Woodward and the anxiety that exists just to...
Woodland.
What did I say?
Woodward.
Did I really? The anxiety just to play on the tour. Now, add on to that, you got a tumor that is pressing against the lobe of your brain that creates anxiety and fear. So this guy was a mess for 6 years. And like I said, the reason I brought up the blowout thing is because I think it's harder. I don't know, you tell me, Chris, who would you rather be? A guy who has won on the tour and then gone through a 6-year, 7-year, 8-year drought like Ricky Fowler and these guys, thinking maybe I'm going the Chip Bet route. Maybe I'm going the David Duval route, where these guys are on top of the world one day, or it's what Scottie Scheffler is going through right now. Scottie Scheffler, every tournament that he enters, was the odds-on favorite. Now, not so much after these last 4 or 5 performances. Which one would you rather be? The guy that has won, that's gone through a drought, or a guy who's trying to break through?
That's a hard choice because it's really just choosing between a has-been and a never was. So I I guess I'd rather be the guy who's won and then can't get back there.
Yeah, because you're always thinking,
At least
like
I
me,
did it once.
Like me. Every time I drive to the Northeast, I'm going to shoot an 85. I know I'm going to shoot an 85 because I know I'm capable of shooting an 85. Now, am I capable of shooting an 85 at 63? Not really. No, I'm the lowest score I posted, I think, is an 87 a couple of weeks ago. And I threw up a 89 2 weeks ago. But I always think I can because I've done it. I know I'm capable of doing it. Yeah, I'd much rather be a has-been who's trying to get back there. But it was an emotional weekend. He broke down in tears. Here is Gary Woodland.
Tell you what, we play an individual sport out here, but I wasn't alone today. And I got a lot of people behind me, my team, my family, in this golf world. Anybody that's struggling with something, I hope they see me and don't give up. Just keep fighting.
That's why I played that last bit. And that's why I talk about my medical situation. That's why I talk about anything and everything personal in my life, is to try to present myself as an example of what to do and what not to do. And it just goes to show you just can't quit. You just can't quit. You just got to put your head down, and it gets back to my thesis. Life sucks. 6 years ago, Gary Woodland had life by the tail. Probably thought, I'm going to win a couple of majors. I'm going to win a couple of PGA events. And he goes 6 years, and he can't win. And he's going through this medical issue, and he's freaking out. He's got anxiety. I mean, is there anything worse than having fear and anxiety? I can't even imagine living like that. And to be honest with you, of all sports, I can't think of another sport where your mind is so much at play. You know what I'm saying? Because football is instinctual. Basketball is instinctual. Baseball, you have to think ahead. If you're playing second base and there's 2 outs, you have to say to yourself, where am I going if the ball comes to me? But you don't have to mentally grind the way you do in golf. And I think more than being 60-something years old, my mental approach, because of my age, I think has wilted. And I can't mentally stay focused the way I could in my 30s and 40s. Like when I'm playing well, I'm playing well. And when I'm playing bad, I can't mentally get past the fact that I just hit a 6-iron 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think there are other sports that are like that. I think, you're nervous and anxious and fearful every time you play sports. Anybody who says they weren't nervous at the beginning of a game didn't really play sports, because every time I suited up, I was nervous as hell until the ball went up. As soon as that first tackle is made, that first shot is missed, the gun at the track meet goes off, whatever your sport is, as soon as it starts, just natural ability kicks in and you don't think. You're taught in those sports not to think. In golf, that's all you do. And it's that negative thinking. There are sometimes when I'm playing badly where I'm like, just don't do this, Ralph. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, Ralph, just make a good swing. I'm thinking, please don't put it in the water. Don't put it in the bunker. You can't think like that. You got to think, let's go make a good swing. Let's see what happens. Just going to make a good swing. We'll go back to extend your arm. Try to keep that left arm steady. Keep your head down and just get through it. That's all you can do. But I'm stupid. I'm like, oh God, please don't put it in the bunker. My bunker game sucks, and I'll make 6. I can't make 6 because I just made 6 on that last hole. Come on, Ralph, don't put it in the bunker. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Just sucks. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Let's take our last break of the day. And once again, I've done it again, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how I do it every damn day, it seems like, but we're ending on a heavy note. Are we a secular society? And was it wrong for the Department of Defense Secretary to say that God is on our side? Well, apparently our American Pope Leo doesn't think so. He said God's not on your side. In fact, he said God does not listen to prayers of those who wage war. I disagree with the Pope. As a heathen Catholic, I absolutely disagree with him. I believe God is on our side. We are free for freedom and justice in the American way, as opposed to our opposition who wants to see us all dead. Yeah, I'm willing to say my God's better than their God. Yes, I'm totally willing to say that. You'll hear from Carolyn Levitt. She was asked about this in today's press briefing in the White House. And then we'll wrap this thing up. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. Get to hear about Teresa Goldner's China trip upcoming. And we'll also talk about birthright citizenship. SCOTUS going to take that up this week. And I believe the judge and I have a lunch wager. She can get even because she's a lunch down, you know. I'm trying to see if I can transfer that into Bentley, pay Bentley off with Goldner. We all three go to lunch, and Goldner pay for me, and I pay for Bentley, and we're all at one big happy TRBS family. Quick timeout, wrapping it up. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, the Pentagon is preparing for weeks of ground troops in Iran. Plus, the scammers are getting so good, it's nuts.
Old interviews with Gavin Newsom's wife keep turning up. Oh my God, is she going to be a focus going forward? So, we got a lot for you on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the...
Whenever you're ready.
Dude, I have fallen in love with the damn gummies. I have fallen in love with the gummies, especially on the weekends. Pop one around 10 in the morning and just veg out. Then take another one right around like 2. And I literally don't use any of my flour. I can stay high the whole freaking day with just 2 little pineapple, little watermelon. I might start getting into that. It's hard to do when you got something to do because you don't know how long you're going to stay. Not that that matters. Not that anybody would know I was high. I'm not that stupid, but I did catch myself giggling at shit I wouldn't normally giggle at because you forget you're high. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why am I giggling at this? Oh, that's right. I'm high as a man. What did we do today? 3, 2. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think it's inevitable that troops on the ground will be in Tehran because now the administration is talking about going and acquiring the enriched uranium. And as I said from the beginning of Epic Fury, you can't do that by the air. You've got to put boots on the ground. And this wouldn't be a first. How do you think we killed Osama bin Laden? 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. We'll have the latest on the record-breaking shutdown, plus the latest on Epic Fury, and China-bound Judge Teresa Goldner joins us. All that, me at 3. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KER.
I'm happy as a king. I'm foolish, though it may seem.
I like the variety. Good choices. Little Ella, little Nat. Now I need you to go back into the 70s. Because for some reason, I heard a lot of Run DMC this weekend. So let's hear some Run DMC. Those are some classic songs. Their Christmas song. That is a classic. I heard that
Christmas
this weekend.
in Holland?
Yes. Christmas in Holland.
Or Holland?
Holland. Yeah, it's Holland, New York.
Yeah, Holland.
It's in Queens, I believe. Isn't it in Holland in Queens? Hey, Siri. What borough is Holland, New York?
Okay, I found this on the web, but what borough is Holland, New York? Check it out.
It is not in one of the boroughs, actually. It's in Erie County. I didn't know that. I thought it was in Queens. I used to live in Queens. What do I know? Are we a secular society? There's certainly a movement from the left to try to make us such. I still believe that we are one nation under God. And this came up, obviously, based on the comments made by Pete Hegseth. Again, I'm not a fan. And there are 100 ways that Hegseth could have put it. But of course, he put it in his most dramatic, warlike way, saying that help God aim our bombs at where they're, just say God bless our soldiers. You know what I'm saying? But he went further that, what did he say? Let me see my notes here. Hang on a second. Where he said something to the effect that overwhelming action of violence against those who deserve no mercy. Like, really? Do you have to, pump it up? But I have to agree with him. I do believe that God is on our side. And as I mentioned, Carolyn Levitt was asked this in the press room this morning.
We've seen the leaders of the Department of War, and we've seen our troops go to prayer during the most turbulent times in our nation's history. And I don't think there's anything wrong with our military leaders or with the president calling on the American people to pray for our service members and those who are serving our country overseas. In fact, I think it's a very noble thing to do. And if you talk to many service members, they will tell you they appreciate the prayers and support from the commander-in-chief and from his cabinet.
The CNN liberal media discussed this morning, and they're harping about, are we getting into a argument about our God is better than your God? Well, if your God believes in death and destruction and believes that you'll be rewarded for killing Americans, yeah, I'm willing to stand up and say that my God is better. Yes. As I was taught, and I was taught in Catholic school and going through the process of being a young Catholic, our God is a loving God that provides free will. So one of the questions that I always tussled with as a child is, why does God allow people to suffer? Well, in many cases, it's own decision. In some cases, it's just fate. Some folks are not long for this world. That's God's will, I believe. I still haven't really come to grips with why children get cancer and painful deaths and such, Genesis motto. Why did that have to happen to that young child? Why would a God allow that child to be tortured for 2 or 3 days at the hands of two incredibly evil human beings? Still struggling with that. But I'm willing to go on record as saying my God is better than the Iranian God, the Muslim God, who, if they claim they're going to be rewarded for killing us, then yes, our type of religion is superior. This isn't anything new. Go read Dwight Eisenhower's moving address to the military the night before the D-Day operation and count how many times he alludes to God and God being on our side. In fact, I think that's a phrase in his closing statement. So it is a strange Monday when Ralph Bailey is defending Pete Hegseth. I wouldn't have said it the way Hegseth said. I wouldn't have brought violence and God in the same sentence, but that's Pete Hegseth, former Weekend Fox contributor, who is now the head of the State Department, or the Pentagon, excuse me. Which brings me to another somewhat condescending comment. That was condescending, saying it was just a Fox weekend host. He was, in fact, a warrior. He was a commander. He was part of Afghanistan and Iraq. And it gets to Jimmy Kimmel. Did you guys hear this? Mark Wayne Mullen is now the head of the Department of Homeland Security. He was confirmed as we expected he would be. It was much closer than we thought, thanks to Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, who's weighing a presidential bid. Did y'all hear that? But as some of you probably know, Mark Wayne Mullen has a different past than most senators. He was a undefeated UFC fighter, and he once owned a plumbing company. And Jimmy Kimmel, in one of his unseen and unfunny monologues, said, so you know what that means, folks? That means that we've got a plumber running the DHS. First of all, what's wrong with being a plumber? Are you really that rich and that entitled, Jimmy Kimmel, that you look down at plumbers who make a very good living? Most plumbers make more money than I do, and I make a pretty good living. Granted, it's from two different sources, but nevertheless, I'm in a new tax bracket these days, unfortunately, as I'm about to find out on Wednesday. I go see John Marquez of Marquez and Marquez, the greatest accountant in Kern County. Go see him. He's right on the corner of 18th and Oak. But I had to get that in there before the show ended, just to show you what a putz Jimmy Kimmel is. And secondly, he was the owner of a plumbing company. There's a little difference between that guy and the guy in dungarees showing up and tightening up your pipes in your bathroom. And so what? What if that is where he came from? What if he was that guy with the butt crack leaning down in your basement, cleaning up your pipes for you? And that he's ascended to become a United States Senator, and now he's head of DHS. Isn't that the American dream? Isn't that what makes us Americans? Isn't that what makes us the greatest country on the planet? But if you're making $10 million a year, a plumber, you're just a pimple on my ass. I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I can't wait till he's unemployed, and he will be very, very soon. Good googly moogly. Want to thank Cathy Abernathy and all of you for joining us. Tomorrow is a Tuesday, so our China-bound judge, Teresa Golden, will be here, 3:30. Hope you'll be amongst those listening. And of course, if you missed any segment of the program, just go to YouTube. You can rewatch that segment of the show, and remember to go to the bottom of the screen. You don't have to watch the whole show, although feel free. But there's a bottom red button. You can fast forward it to whatever segment you like. In the meantime, I'm going to go have the Ralph Bailey little chicken breast with maybe even a baked potato tonight at Casey's Steakhouse. But for Chris Burnick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Ralph, to the ball!
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. There's been a deadly school shooting in Texas.
A 15-year-old student shot a teacher at a Texas high school and then fatally shot himself at Hill Country College Preparatory High School. Sheriff Mark Reynolds
said the student shot the teacher, and then what we believe, and we're investigating right now, but it looks as though the student turned the gun on himself and shot himself.
The teacher was taken to a San Antonio hospital. The male student died on the scene. No other injuries were reported. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Supreme Court is set to convene Wednesday to consider the legality of President Trump's executive order that seeks to end birthright citizenship.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments